You to Tennessee State University football as the Tigers are here at Nissan Stadium right here in Nashville, Tennessee, playing the Bethune Cookman Wildcats. And this is a big ball game. And Derek, welcome to Tennessee State football 2018.
Well, Howard, I'm glad to be here. You know, it's another football season. We waited all year for this. We talk all spring and summer about football season. Well, September 1st is here, and it's Tiger time.
It is Tiger time, and Tennessee State University is trying to kick this season off in a win-win way. And, of course, Bethune-Cookman is not trying to have it. And it's going to be a very interesting ball game because both of these teams have a lot of new names.
Yes, they do. We talked to both coaches, and both are excited about what's going on with their season this year. And so it's going to be a heads-up battle against the Tigers and the Wildcats.
All right, we'll be back with Tennessee State University football after these messages. Fans, would like to welcome you back to Nashville, Tennessee, Nissan Stadium. This is the home of the Tennessee Titans, but today it's home of the Tennessee State Tigers. Tennessee State University playing Bethune-Cookman in the John Merritt Classic number 20. And Derek, I have a feeling you've been at every one of them.
Yes, sir, I have. Since 1998, I've been to all the John Merritt Classics, and it's been a joyous occasion, and we've been very successful with the John Merritt Classic, winning the majority of those games, and hopefully that trend will continue.
Well, I've been to every one, too. As a matter of fact, you played in a couple of them, didn't you?
Yeah, I think I might have got in one.
Well, the fans are coming in, and we're going to be back with TSU football in just a moment, and we're going to be back after this message.
My babies take some hard licks out.
And fans, as the Tennessee State University band is on the field and the singing of the national anthem, again, we're excited. John Merritt Classic, 20 years, and we were talking about that before we went on break. But Bethune-Cookman has been here before, and Bethune-Cookman went back victorious. I think it was about 3 years ago.
Yes, so Bethune-Cookman has been in Nashville the last two times, once in 1987 and again 2 or 3 years ago, and both times they've won. So they're 2-0 in Nashville. The series sits at 7-2 TSU Tigers, but the only two victories for the Wildcats have been in Nashville. So this is a big game for them today.
Well, they lost last year as Tennessee State went to Daytona and defeated them down in Daytona, but they turned their season around at the end of the season and pulled off 5, I think, out of 6 victories.
Correct, including the Florida Classic, which is the big game for them against FAMU, our rivalry, which we also beat FAMU last year as well. So, I mean, it's a lot of familiar team. They know we play FAMU. Their biggest rivalry is FAMU. So we should know one another, and this will be an exciting ball game.
Well, Derek, you know, we're here. We're actually broadcasting on ESPN, and this is our first time as a university, the Ohio Valley Conference, which Tennessee State plays in. Bethune-Cookman is in the MEAC Conference, but this is the first time we have had a ESPN contract, and then we're broadcasting on ESPN Plus, so this is a new one for us.
Yes, it's definitely a big time for the TSU Tigers and the OVC Conference to be able to stream the games online with the apps, ESPN Plus or ESPN3, so you can see Tennessee State football or OVC football all across the country now, and so that's really big time for us.
Well, they're about to get ready for the kickoff as Tennessee State University will be kicking off to Bethune-Cookman, so we'll be back with the kickoff after this message. Well, I guess we're going to stay right here with you, and we're going to go into the ball game as Tennessee State University will be kicking off to Bethune-Cookman.
Yeah, Howard, this is one of the keys to the game. We have 2 true freshman kickers. This is Caleb Mosley, the true freshman that's kicking off at Tennessee State University, and special teams will play a major part in this game tonight.
All right, well, that's Bellamy bringing it right up the middle and knocked down hard. Short of the 20-yard line. Looks like a fumble on the play, but it appears that Bethune-Cookman has recovered.
Yes, that was a big hit by number 7 from Tennessee State University, a former wide receiver. Number 7 is the receiver from Murfreesboro, Tennessee. He made the big hit on that play, and it looked like the ball was loose for a second, but looked like Wildcats regained possession.
Well, we'll give you the starting lineups as we go, but we heard that Bethune-Cookman is not starting Williams, who played last year, but instead, well, we'll see. These numbers are hard to read. They've got those white jerseys and the light numbers. There's a pass to the flats. And a good defensive stop by the Big Blue.
Yeah, thought we would see some of that quick passing game with the Wildcats for an extension for their running game. So that was a quick pass. Looked like that was a loss on that play.
And it looks as though David Israel is the quarterback. He is transfer, and this is his first game ever to play for the Wildcats of Bethune-Cookman. On the tackle for Tennessee State is cornerback Nesbitt. All right, second down, 11 yards to go. Motion left, there's the handoff. And a hard tackle by the Big Blue.
Yeah, there's some more misdirection and some zone option and some jet sweeps for the Wildcats. He almost got outside containment. Big tackle by the first-time starter, Nick Harper Jr. Tennessee State University.
The son of pro Nick Harper, Super Bowl winner Nick Harper. All right, it's going to be third down, about 8 yards to go. Tigers digging in. First pass of the game, and it's caught, but out of bounds. So the Tigers dodge a bullet there, and I think we'll see our first punt.
Yeah, on that play again was Nick Harper Jr. It looked like a 10-yard out. Looked like it was a great play. Just like the receiver could not maintain possession in bounds. That's a big stop for the Tennessee State defense. Fourth down, Tigers.
So into the punt is Francois. Even though Hernandez is also a punter, but he's normally doing place kicking and spot punting. But Hernandez averaged over 40 yards a punt last year.
Back deep for the Tigers is Chris Rowland from Brentwood, Tennessee.
And a high, deep punt that's going to push Rowland back. He'll handle it around the 17. Oh, he's got some room. And it closes down quickly.
Well, every time you kick the ball to Chris Rowland, which his freshman year he was an all-OVC performer in special teams, he's very dangerous, and he almost got loose on that play. About 10 yards, first down, Tigers.
Okay, so the Wildcats shook off a little cobwebs and were not able to move the ball on the Big Blue. Now Tennessee State's time, and a brand new quarterback for the Big Blue Tigers, Demery Croft, a transfer.
Yeah, Demery Croft is the transfer from the University of Minnesota, and this is his first snaps as the Tigers QB.
And he's got a little running room and taken down hard, but not before picking up 5 yards on the run. So a good run by the Big Blue.
Yeah, on the carry is to Kendrick Roberson, also a new face for the TSU Tigers. He's a JUCO transfer, and that's his first attempt as a TSU Tiger.
Tigers with the second down, 5 to go. And they look, they look like they're game ready. But the Wildcats are big, and they're big inside. And handoff up the middle. He's got room across the 50. Boy, oh, boy. A big game for the Big Blue.
Once again, that's to Kendrick Robertson, the new transfer in from the JUCO. That's his second carry. And as you're seeing the Tigers on offense, they want to run the football this year. And having a dual-threat quarterback like Croft is really giving the defense a little trouble right now for Bethune-Cookman.
17 yards on the carry and a first down for the Tigers, and they've been able to do it on the ground. As the little option handoff, and he hands it off to the first back through, and a pickup of about 5 yards.
Once again, that's to Kendrick Roberson getting the carry on the inside zone option. I'm looking to see when Demery Croft is going to keep it, because when he does, he's going to have pay dirt, because last time nobody was with him after that fake.
4 yards on the carry, 2nd and 7. Croft, his first game for the Big Blue. 6'5", 220 pounds. And McKendrick might be back to the line of scrimmage, and they're going to mark him down right there.
Yeah, that time the Tigers were in pistol, and a straight handoff to the left side gave about a 1 yard carry on the play. But once again, the emphasis on running the football for the Tigers is what the offensive side of the offensive staff spoke about for this game.
Third down, 6 yards to go. There's pass up the field and thrown away from everybody. That time Croft really didn't have a handle on that ball and probably just put it out there to keep from having any turnover. So it's going to be fourth down for the Big Blue.
Yeah, on that route was Al Malik Moore, the redshirt freshman out of Miami. Looked like there was some miscommunication. Looked like he should have kept deep. He stopped and hitched up. That's the first pass of the game, incomplete. Fourth down for the Tigers.
Well, I thought I would see Zeta into punt, but it looks like Mosley is going to be punting for the Big Blue.
Oh.
Boy, a great punt by the Big Blue Tigers.
Yep, that was a directional kick. Looked like it's inside of the 5 yard line. The true freshman Caleb Mosley looked like he's doing both kicking duties right now, punting and kicking.
My dad was going through all these things. I had no idea.
Fans would like to welcome you back to Nissan Stadium. Tennessee State University just punted. The ball is down on the 4 yard line. And handoff. Oh, the quarterback on the keeper. And he's on his way up that sideline. Finally brought down around the 45 yard line. Wow, that had me fooled.
Yep.
Almost 55 yards on that carry.
Yeah, that was a new quarterback in the game. That was Akevius Williams, the redshirt junior out of Madison, Florida, who was slated to start at quarterback. He was in on that second drive and made an impact right away with a 50-yard run.
Well, I tell you, that was just a great play. Had everybody on the field fooled and definitely had me fooled.
Yeah, that was one of those zone options that we talked about that the Wildcats wanted to do. And the defense of the Tigers
I'll tell you what, one thing, the bands are excited, and both bands are playing and making a lot of noise here. We're in the first quarter of this ball game, and now Bethune Cookman has reinserted Israel, I believe. Again, those numbers a little strange. Passes complete to the sideline.
Look like that's number 13 on that catch for the Wildcats. That's Alvin Harper Jr., the son of Alvin Harper.
All right, this is really strange, but that was Tupac Isami on that pass.
Once again, that's David Israel at quarterback, who's making that throw to number 11. That's Anthony Cruz for the Wildcats, the 6'4", 185 senior.
They're definitely running a hurry-up offense, Bethune-Cookman, and they're able to move that football. First down and 10 for the Wildcats. Israel. Handoff up the middle and no go as Tennessee State hung tough inside.
Yellow on the carry was Tupac Ismi, the junior running back for the Wildcats. There was a lot of penetration up the middle for number 94, Patterson, for the Tigers. That looked like that's a 2-yard loss on the play.
Patterson, 6'3", 250 pounds, and he can clog it up in the middle. A loss of 1, second down, 11 yards to go. Israel. Back to pass. A lot of pressure. And he just tosses it out of bounds. Tennessee State putting a lot of pressure on. You know, Coach Reed said that he didn't know yesterday where the real pressure was going to come from, outside, inside, who was going to be doing it. But now we see that he's got some guys that can put the pressure on, and that was Khalil Jones, a 6-foot, 300-pound sophomore out of Nashville, Tennessee.
Yeah, Khalil Jones is a Nashville Stratford kid that they've been waiting to see some improvement on, and that's good to see him get some action right away early in the season.
All right, big third down play. Israel back to pass. There's the pressure. He gets away, though. And he's going to run out of bounds short of the first down.
Yeah, the defensive coordinator for Tennessee State, Coach Fisher, has to be scratching his head because his middle linebacker, was right there for a kill shot and just clean miss. That's the transfer from Illinois, the sophomore Christian Abercrombie on that play. Luckily for the Tigers, he didn't get too much of a gain, maybe 5 yards, but it's 4th and long.
4th and 7, and they're going for it. They're taking their time, but 9 seconds left on the clock. They've got some time. Israel at quarterback, 3 wide outs left. There's a handoff. And the Tigers stack him up a couple yards behind the line of scrimmage. Good defensive effort by the Big Blue.
Interesting play call for the Wildcats. I know one of the keys to the game for them is get their run game going. On that drive, they had a run over 40 yards. But on 4th and 7, it's really hard to run at the Tigers with that type of play. First down, Big Blue.
Well, James Green, the linebacker, I think he's out of Olympia High School. Yeah, Orlando, Florida. One of the Florida boys.
Yep, Florida connection.
Big stop on that play.
Yes, he has a brother on the team as well. That's Josh. So you have Jeff and Josh Green out of Orlando, Florida, and his big brother Josh making the play.
All right, the Tigers on 32. And the Wildcats getting tough in the middle.
Yeah, there was penetration by number 5 for the Wildcats. That is their safety, Kennedy Ndukwe, and he's a senior, 6-foot, 180-pound senior, and he was in the backfield right away to blow that play up.
Quick pass out to the flats. And there he is, number 3, Chris Rowland. First time he's gotten his hands on the ball.
Well, this is the second drive, Howard, and noticeably absent is Stephen Newbold. He has not been on the field. Looks like that's number 13. That's Devin Johnson. Number 9 is Al Malik Moore, and of course Chris Rowland. But we have not seen the dynamic playmaker Stephen Newbold yet.
No, we haven't, but I believe we will. Third down, 4 yards. And pass is incomplete. And good coverage by Bethune Cookman on the coverage. Joseph Johnson. And the Tigers are now looking at a 4th down. So other than the big run by Bethune Cookman, it's just been a punting game so far. And looks like both offenses are trying to get untracked.
Yeah, both teams have had runs of over 40 yards. But after those big plays, they put a sputtered out on offense. So it looks like the Tigers are trying to really dedicate themselves to the run game. I think they haven't completed any. Well, I think it's been 1 pass completed, but the 2 other passes were just incomplete and a little bit badly thrown. So maybe Croft has a little bit of jitters as the first starting for Tennessee State University, but definitely the offense is sputtering.
All right, well, on the return for Bethune Cookman, Kevon Mitchell, and he picked up a couple yards on the play.
Yeah, Kevon Mitchell was a guy that was a key player to the game. And every time he gets his hands on the ball, he can take it anytime.
We'd like to welcome you back to the John Merritt Classic, Classic number 20, as Bethune-Cookman and Tennessee State University are scoreless in this first quarter of play. And I'll tell you right now, it's been looking to us like a tough defensive ball game. Not a lot of mistakes, just tough defense.
Well, it hasn't been any penalties in the game so far, which is good for both teams because they were highly penalized last year. Also, there's been some big runs in this game for both teams. So we definitely want to see what either team has going on the run game, but nobody has scored any points and not any turnovers. Looked like there was a targeting that was saw on instant replay on that kick-out block on that last play, Howard, and that's what they just called.
All right, well, that's going to move Bethune-Cookman back to their 24-yard line. It's going to be 1st and 10 from that point. Israel, the quarterback. Isami in the backfield. And it's incomplete pass. It was intended for Kevon Mitchell, the leading receiver from Hollywood, Florida. And he is one of the guys that are preseason pick for all conference.
Yeah, on that play for the Tigers was the transfer from University of Alabama, Mecky Brown, who came in on a blitz and was in the backfield real quick on the new quarterback, Acavius Williams.
Israel in trouble, and they got him. And boy, oh boy. Coming out like a shot out of a cannon. That was number 30, Blair Edwards, linebacker, 6'1", 202-pound senior from Gaston, Alabama.
Yeah, that's a senior, one of the only returning linebackers that the Tigers have. And that was a blitz on David Israel, who's back in the game, which they said they will keep playing both quarterbacks.
Pass up the middle, up to the flats, I'm sorry, and a good defensive effort by the Big Blue Tigers. Nick Harper on the tackle, short of the first down. It's going to be 4th and about 5 yards.
Well, that's the battle of the Harpers. That's Alvin Harper Jr. for the Wildcats and Nick Harper Jr. for the Tigers. That's one Titan to another Titan, who both fathers played at the Tennessee Titans. But that time, Nick Harper stops it. 4th down for the Tigers.
It's pretty amazing that both those guys would be going up against each other. I wonder whether the dads know that each other, maybe they're in the stadium today. It would be great to know that. Great punt that's going to roll out of bounds around the 20-yard line. And the Tigers will start 1st and 10.
Yeah, that's another directional kick. They're trying to keep the ball out of the dangerous kick returner or punt returner for the Tigers, Chris Rowland.
So we're going to take a break. We'll be back after this message.
Too little.
And we're back, fans, as the Tennessee State Tigers and Bethune-Cookman Wildcats are still scoreless in the first quarter. Michael Hughes in the ball game at quarterback. Michael Hughes was the leading passer last year in the OVC, and he lost his position to Croft just this week, and coach decided to pull the string now and put him out there. So a 4-yard pickup. It's going to be 2nd and 6 for the Big Blue. Michael Hughes, 6'2", 230 pounds. And it's complete for a 1st down.
Yeah, on the catch right there for the Tigers is Chris Rowland, the junior out of Brentwood, Tennessee. On the out route, beautiful pass, first throw for Hughes, right on the money. 1st down, Tigers.
All right, well, this is the kind of game when you get your chance, it's hard to get it back. And I know Hughes wants to pick up where he left off last year, and this is a great start. 1st and 10 for the Big Blue. Ball at the 41-yard line.
And that running back now is Earl Harrison, who broke out 2 years ago against the Bethune Cookman Wildcats for over 100 yards down in Daytona. He's a second carry of the game for him. So the Tigers are showing that they have a lot of depth and playing a lot of different players right now.
Well, good to see Harrison healthy. He's a strong runner, and he can do some damage up there. 3-yard gain, 2nd and 7. Harrison cuts it up and picks up some good real estate as he's, even with the running backs and the quarterbacks, you want to stay in the game because the Tigers have 6 running backs, and so when it gets to be your opportunity, you want to make something of it.
That was a very strange play. It looked like the other offensive lineman did not know the snap count. The center, Anthony Jeter, snapped it, pulled, and the left side of the line just stood still. It was surprised that they were able to get positive yardage on that play.
3rd down, 4 yards to go. Hughes back to pass, and it's a 1st down and more.
Once again, that's Chris Rowland on the crossing route. I mean, though those two have chemistry. Last year they hooked up several times for big plays, and Michael Hughes has come in as quarterback and is looking for his old buddy, Chris Rowland. That's a 1st down into Wildcats territory.
Chris Rowland had a big game last year in the first game of the season, and he's coming back again. Ball at the 24-yard line, 1st and 10 for the Big Blue after the 29-yard scamper. Hughes back to pass. It's going to be a jump ball, and it's incomplete.
Yeah, that pass was to the senior, Devon Johnson from Alabama. It was him one-on-one. It was a 50-50 ball. It looked like there was some contact there. Nevertheless, that's an incomplete pass.
It did. Johnson is a speedster, and that time he had the ball. He should have caught it. Well, he should have caught that ball. I don't know. He might have been ruled out of bounds even if he had held on to it.
Yeah, he was going against the fantastic cornerback for the Bethune-Cookman Wildcats, Elliott Miller, Mr. Everything for the Wildcats, the senior, and that's a tough matchup for the Tigers.
All right. On carry for the Big Blues, Sabree Curtis, and Curtis picks up a tough 4 yards.
Yeah, Sabree Curtis is now a hybrid. He used to play running back and actually was the leading rusher for the Tigers last year, but now he's playing the slot, running back, and once again the Tigers want to ground and pound. 3rd down, 6 yards to go. Let's see what the Tigers call.
You're right. Gilbert got over there and did a fine job. Flag on the play, and it's touchdown, ruled touchdown, but there are 2 flags on the play. We'll have to see what the indication is. Josh Green on the reception.
Actually, that's Devon Johnson, the senior out of Alabama with the touchdown catch. It's 2 flags on the play. One is an offsides on the Wildcats. The other one's going to be a very controversial call because there was a lot of contact and Devon pushed off, but he was being grabbed by the Wildcat defender.
Offsides defense, that was declined, and it's pass interference. So Tennessee State University declines both penalties. Touchdown, Big Blue.
What a drive by the junior from Nashville, Hillsborough High School. Michael Hughes comes in and says, hey, don't forget about me. He drives the Tigers down 71 yards for the first touchdown of the season, going to his buddy Chris Rowland, then finding the senior out of Alabama, Devon Johnson, for the touchdown. TSU Tigers touchdown.
All right, Zito in to attempt the point after. Good hold. And the kick is good. So with 2 minutes, 7 seconds remaining in this first quarter of play, Tennessee State University goes on the board 7-0.
Well, hey, that's a big drive for the TSU Tigers. they was trying to establish a run game the whole first quarter, and then they said, hey, check this out. We got a quarterback who can toss it. He had 15 touchdown passes, only 6 interceptions, over 1,400 yards passing in 6 games. They brought him into the game. He turned in right away, touchdown, Tigers.
All right, Tennessee State University leading 7-0 in the John Merritt Classic, the 20th John Merritt Classic. The fans have started coming into the stadium now as the rain delay had Tennessee State University and the fans and Bethune Cookman under the stands. They couldn't come in till almost 6 o'clock. And so now they're seeing football, and don't think this young team of Bethune Cookman is going to sit back and not have some type of answer for this. They're playing 2 quarterbacks as Tennessee State is, and they're just trying to fill it out and see what group, what mixture, what formula is going to work best against both of these teams.
Well, the thing is for the Tigers, the defense has been stellar. They've given up one big play. That was the big run from Makevius Williams, who came in, kind of snuck in, and he had a big run down the right-hand side. Nevertheless, the defense has been solid. Now, that is a true freshman mistake there by Caleb Mosley. He kicked the ball out of bounds, which to take it out to the 35-yard line for the Wildcats, giving them great field position, something that you can't have after you just had a positive play on offense. Then you have a mistake on special team, giving the Wildcats great field position.
Well, there's a new rule now in the NCAA, and the ball does come out to the 35-yard line. They're trying to cut down on kickoff returns. And so now the rule is that if there's a pooch kick and you catch it behind the 35-yard line, you can catch it on the 2-yard line. If you fair catch it, they bring it out to the 35. Pretty soon, well, they'd probably just be better off just putting the ball down on the 35-yard line, just starting the game. Israel back to pass. He's got pressure, and the man open, and it's picked off by the Big Blue.
Yeah. Well, on the play is the senior, Mr. Everything for the Tigers. That's Ladarius Cook out of Birmingham, Alabama. He is the leader on defense, one of the only familiar faces on defense. And at that time, he kind of faked him into that throw. He watched that the whole time. The Tigers brought pressure, and he baited him to that throw and cut underneath the route. First down, TSU Tigers.
Well, great defensive backs are made by great linemen, and that time the pressure came from up the middle, and Israel had nowhere to go, nothing to do. He tried to put it out there, but the pressure caused the turnover, and Darius Cook is excited about this year. You should hear him talk. You probably have. He's just ready to go.
Yeah, he's a great leader, great kid. Has been a 3-year starter for the Tigers. He's a do-what-you-ask type of kid. Yes, sir, no, sir. So it's great to have that type of kid in the program.
He was back to pass into the middle, and it's complete. And rolling up the field to the 14-yard line.
Well, one thing's for sure. The only reason why Hughes didn't start today is because they felt that they wanted to run the football and have a more dual-threat quarterback. But don't get it wrong. He is a passer and can throw it, and he's come in on fire, lighting up the Wildcats with pass after pass.
25 yards on the pass, ball on the 14-yard line, 1st and 10. There's a handoff, and Bethune does a great job of defending on that play.
Yeah, that was a carry by to Kendrick Robertson, and that was great containment by the Wildcats. Number 18 for the Wildcats. That is, we don't have an 18 on the defense right now. Actually, it's Joseph Johnson, a sophomore senior, 190-pounder, and he stayed in his key and kept his leverage and kept our running back from getting outside.
All right, a loss of 1 on the play. 2nd down, 11 yards to go. And Tennessee State calls a timeout on that play. 7-0 is the score. Tennessee State leading with 43 seconds remaining in the first quarter. You're listening to Tennessee State University football on ESPN+. We're going to stay with you, fans, as the quarter is about to end. And the Tennessee State University Tigers finally made the change. And talked to Coach Reed yesterday, and he made the comment. He said, you know, Hughes was my starting quarterback, but on Thursday he threw 2 interceptions in 2 minutes, and they felt that Croft would be able to move the team better at that point in time. But now we're back with Hughes at quarterback, and the Tigers moving that ball up and down the field, both on the ground and in the air.
Well, we talked about that, Howard. You know, Demry Croft is a great athlete, and he had a great season last year at University of Minnesota. But we just didn't know what was going to happen when the lights came on here in Nashville. Not that he did a bad job. It's just like Michael Hughes is on fire.
And he's still on fire. The pass is complete at the 9-yard line, and down at about the 1-yard line is number 13, Devon Johnson.
Well, Devon Johnson had an outstanding camp. I mean, he has a brother on the team as well that plays safety, Desmond Johnson. And last year he had a breakout season for the Tiger. Arguably, he might be the fastest person on the team. And so you have to respect the speed. So right now, he's just torching the Wildcats with underneath routes.
All right, first down and goal. Ball on the 1-yard line. There's a handoff. And it's touchdown, Big Blue.
Wow. Did you see the left guard for the Tigers, Burton, come pulling? And that's the big new running back for Tennessee State, number 27. He gets a transfer out of Arizona, and he was brought in this year just for that type of situation, which the Tigers struggled last year when it came to short yardage downs and really had a tough time converting. That's DeMarco Curban. He's a 6'1", 225-pound junior out of Texas, and, man, he had a load of steam, and nobody wanted to get in front of that. Touchdown, Tigers.
Antonio Zito in to attempt the point after. And the kick is good. So with 3 seconds left in this quarter, we're going to stay with you, fans, because the Tigers now leading 14-0, and we're going to stay right here. Tennessee State University and Bethune-Cookman playing in the John Merritt Classic, the 20th John Merritt Classic. So here we go. Croft starting. Tigers kind of shaking off the dust, getting the cobwebs out. Couldn't really move the Big Blue up and down the field. They make the decision, put Hughes in. He puts the ball in the air, 14-0.
Well, that's the luxury of having several quarterbacks, and that was something that Coach Reed talked about. You know, we haven't had the luxury of having options at quarterback. Usually we carry 2. Right now the Tiger has 3 solid quarterbacks that can come in and play. And just because Demry started off slow, I mean, that's not an indictment on him. We need him. We're just right now, you can play the hot hand, and Michael Hughes is the hot hand.
Michael Hughes, 5 of 6 for 101 yards in this ball game so far.
As you see the totals right there, 146 yards of total offense for the Tigers, 70 for the Wildcats, so they're doubling them at that stat. But the Tigers have to stay focused and continue to finish this game off strong because the Wildcats are a very, very dangerous team.
Well, I'll tell you what, Caleb Mosley made up for that kick out of bounds and put it into the end zone for a touchback. And so Bethune-Cookman will be starting from the 25-yard line as that ball was down.
Well, it's something about that number 41 kicker for the Tigers, right? Last year, Lane Clark, All-American, All-OVC, and now we have a true freshman wearing 41, and that foot he has as a true freshman, he's going to be something special.
When you look at the offensive line for Bethune-Cookman, you wonder why they're not able to move that ball a lot better. They are huge. And
can happen on Saturday night.
To the John Merritt Classic here in Nashville, Tennessee, in Nissan Stadium, as Tennessee State University, the Tigers have awakened. And the Tigers leading 14-0 as Hughes has come in here and sparked this team, especially in the air.
It on the last part of that first quarter, the last 6 minutes of that quarter, they scored 14 points and kept the Wildcats off the scoreboard. So right now you're starting to see a little momentum, and that's what you needed to do to the Wildcats team because they have 31 new players on their team, so they're trying to fill out as well. So you don't want them to give them a chance to feel like they're in the game, and so the Tigers took advantage of that, and right now they're controlling this football game 14-0. And Howard, I think I know that song.
Yes, you do. Tennessee State University band plays it all the time. But, you know, these bands scout each other just like the football teams do, and they come in playing a lot of the same songs, trying to play it better. Israel quarterback, wideouts to either side.
Yeah, on that play is Tupac Isby. Yeah, on a jet sweep. And the Tigers lost contain on that play, and that's something that Coach Fisher does not like. And they got sealed there, and that's a pretty big game for the Wildcats. That's a first down.
12 yards in the first down as they saw something that they liked, and, of course, Tennessee State not liking it. Ball on the 37-yard line. Faking it to the left side, and quarterback's going to keep it.
Yeah, that's Arkevius Williams. He's really been dangerous on the run for the Wildcats. He hasn't hurt us with his arm, but he has over 50 yards rushing on 2 big carries, and he was everything but tackled and got away. And that's the junior, the redshirt junior out of Madison, Florida, who was a 3-star coming out of high school.
7 yards on the play, 2nd down and 3. Williams back to pass. Pressure's coming. And it's complete all the way down to the 3-yard line. Fans are booing, but you know what? Great catch.
Yes, and that's number 6 for the Wildcats, Malik Jackson. He's a grad student, 6'1", 180 pounds, and they just beat our best corner, Jordan Nesbitt, on a straight fly route, and, hey, he just blew by him, and he couldn't keep up.
All right, 1st and goal. And flag on the play.
That's one thing it hasn't been, Howard. There's a lot of flags in this game.
All right, motion by the offense is going to push them back 5 yards. And Bethune Cookman was really having trouble with penalties last year. And that one was a tough one.
Yeah, well, the Tigers shifted late, and that caused the center to have a snap infraction, which pushed them back until about the 8-yard line. That's a major penalty because it's going to be hard to get 8 yards on the Tigers.
Anthony Cruz has been inserted in the game. He's on the right side. He's 6'4", and you might look for it. Oh, bad snap. And again, the Wildcats continue to go backwards.
Yeah, and on the play for the Tigers is the transfer, Mickey Brown, who was right there, and Arkevius Williams didn't cover that. That would have been the Tigers football.
All right, ball on the 18-yard line. They move the ball backwards, 16 yards so far. Into the game, Mallard, he's a 6'6" tight end. So they've got the height on the field and try to take advantage of some of the shorter Tennessee State Tigers.
Yeah, Bethune-Cookman has a 2nd and goal from the 18-yard line. After the big play to Cruz, they've kind of hurt themselves with some self-inflicted penalties and mistakes. So let's see if the Wildcats can clear it up and get some points on the board.
You know, in the first quarter, they came up with a big play. Quarterback keeper around the right side, but they weren't able to convert that into points. And in this situation with the big pass play, they've been moving backwards ever since that ball was marked at the 2-yard line. It's now on the 18-yard line. I was talking about the size of the offensive line for Bethune-Cookman. And you've got Jamal Savage at left tackle, 6'5", 325. Dwayne Brown, the senior All-American, 6'3", 352, 325. Ladre Barnes, 6'3" at center, 305. Ramirez, 6'3", 290 at guard. Camp Validovos, 6'6", 310 pounds. That's a lot of beef.
Yeah, that's one of the things that the Wildcats were focused on. Of course, they have the Black Player of the Year candidate, Dwayne Brown, at left guard, who's been a 2-time cancer survivor, has anchored that offensive line, and so they're serious about running the football. Right now, the Tigers are just holding them thin.
And I'm going to fix that. Villalobos. I'm going to say it right. I know mom and dad out there, cousins, friends, they said, what did that guy just say? I mean, that's a lot of name.
Yes, it's something that's not very common.
All right, it's going to be second down and goal to go. Ball on the 18-yard line. Quarterback, Acavius Williams. Lone back. He's got time. He throws, and it's incomplete. No flag on the play. A lot of times when you come over the back like that, there's a flag, but a great defensive effort by Blair Edwards.
That was one of the few times the Tigers only brought 4 and fell underneath for coverage, and that was the senior Blair Edwards out of Alabama, who made a very, very good play because there was no flag. But if he gets a flag there, that's a first down, and that is letting Wildcats off the hook. 3rd and goal from the 18.
All right. Same offensive set. Tigers are coming this time, and he's in trouble. And they got him back around the 29-yard line. Great defense, nowhere to throw the ball. Tigers coming from everywhere.
Well, that's Coach Fisher. If you get 3rd and long with Coach Fisher, he's going to bring it from everywhere. And that was a middle linebacker. That was a safety. That was an outside linebacker, all coming with all type of pressure for the Tigers. And now you have a field goal of over 40-plus yards. Looks like 45 yards. And that drive started, or that series started on the 2-yard line for the Wildcats.
Hernandez in to attempt the field goal. He had a great season last year. Over 60 points scored by his toe. Kick is up.
That's good.
And the kick is good.
Well, that's big time for the Wildcats to get some points on the board because they really hurt themselves, giving up 33 yards on that drive backwards and still able to get 3 points on the board for the Wildcats. First points for the Bethune Cookman Wildcats of the year, 3 points, 14-3 Tigers.
39-yard field goal is the score. Tennessee State 14, Bethune Cookman.
Get a hip pointer or a stinger. So if you get your...
Fans would like to welcome you back to Nashville, Tennessee, Nissan Stadium as Bethune-Cookman scored on a 39-yard field goal to score 14-3. And there's the kickoff. And up the middle for the Big Blue.
That's Major Bellamy, number 2.
Major Bellamy.
Yes, sir. That transfer from Georgia Military College. That's his first touch of the game for the Tigers. But you just saw a flag from about 20 yards down the field from the 40 to the 20. This could be the first penalty on the Tennessee State Tigers of the night.
It could be. Holding called against the Big Blue. Which, again, is a timing factor. Even though Bethune-Cookman only got 3 points, the way they were going was backwards. And so the fact that they were able to get points out of that drive is still a plus for them. So Tennessee State has to be careful now and not let the tides turn, because Bethune is excited about coming out of that one with at least something.
Oh, yeah, that was definitely a positive. For them to get 3 points after shooting themselves in the foot for over 35 yards, making them have to kick a 45-yard field goal when they started first and goal on the 2 is a positive. And here we go. Our fantastic superstar receiver is now in the game. Number 1, Stephen Newbold.
Oh, Stephen is finally in the game, and we'll get that story later, won't we? Bethune Cookman getting tougher inside now.
And Demery Crawford is back in the game. On the carry was to Kendrick Roberson.
All right, and so a lot of changes being made right now. Tennessee State going with a 2-quarterback set now, and not afraid to put Crawford back in the game. And Crawford's going to use his feet, as it looked like he had a lane, but it closed up awfully quickly for him. And again, the Wildcats tough in the middle.
Yeah, that was a little indecision right there by Demery, and that's the strong safety, number 5, Kennedy Ndukwe, for the senior from the Wildcats, making the last 2 plays. But once again, it's very difficult to see these numbers from so far away. Most time you see the Wildcats in maroon and gold, them in white and silver is an unfamiliar territory for us.
You're right. Gilbert is in the middle of all that and made the stop on that play. And there's a complete pass for the first down. Flag on the play, and it's probably going to be a late hit on the quarterback. Tigers get a first down and get out of trouble.
Yeah, that's a crossing route by number 89, Cal Oliver, the tight end, on the first down catch. And Mr. Gentry or Howard, you were correct. You saw it. That's a late hit on Croft and add an additional 15 more yards to take the Tigers first down.
All right, so Croft looking good now, both in the air and on the ground, making good decisions. And the Tigers now knocking on the 50-yard line door, as that ball has been moved to the 47-yard line. First down, 10 yards to go from that point. Tigers leading 14-3.
That was great to see them hit the tight end on that play. That was an emphasis of the camp, tight end play.
Croft held that ball a little too long, little indecision going on, and Bethune did a great job putting the pressure on, making the stop. On the tackle for the Wildcats, Titus Curry.
Yeah, that's one of the emphasis. They wanted to keep Croft inside of the pocket, and they got They got pressure off the edge by both rushers to keep him in the pocket, and then collapsed it. That's a big time play for the Wildcats defense. That's a loss of 4.
All right, second down, about 15 to go, and as pass is incomplete. And again, pressure coming from the Wildcats. And that pressure is causing all kind of problems for the quarterback, Croft.
Yeah, that was a wide receiver screen that was foiled by number 21 of the Wildcats. He read that play right away, and we're trying to get a number on him as we speak. We didn't have him in the 2 deep, but nevertheless, he made an outstanding play to blow that play up.
That was Vernon Walker, the third. Pass upfield, and it's incomplete, and the Tigers will be punting. So Tennessee State's lost a little bit of that spark. I don't want to say that Hughes might be the flint and the fire, but Croft did not have a very good go in this series. Fourth down, into punt, Caleb Mosley.
Yeah, a lot of time that these series are already scripted of which quarterback should be in, but sometimes you just have to ride the hot hand. I mean, Hughes was on fire, and so now we got to watch out for the Wildcats because now they have a little momentum, scoring on their last drive and then stopping the Tigers on this drive, and let's see what the defense can do to try to maintain the momentum.
All right, Kevon Mitchell on the fair catch, but I'm going to say something. If you look at that series for the Tigers, every down there was penetration. there was penetration. Even on the punt, that punt was almost blocked. But every down was penetration from the defense, therefore keeping the Tigers from being able to get their offense untracked. Let's see how that works out later in this ball game. 14-3 is the score, and Bethune Cookman looking to be the aggressors. As soon as I say that, the Tigers come up with a huge play and just wreaking havoc in there. Number 44, Landon Brazil.
Yeah, they brought pressure from the cornerback. That was a fumble on the play, and once again, Arkevius Williams was able to pounce on it, but that's a loss of 4 yards, 2nd and 14 for the Wildcats.
Tigers pressuring again, and he's still on his feet. Finally, they bring him down. My goodness.
Well, Mr. Arkevius Williams is very elusive. It took the sophomore out of Nashville Stratford, Khalil Jones, the defensive tackle, who's getting his first action with the Tigers, to finally clean up that play. But does he have Vaseline? I mean, he's just
I'll tell you, Williams, I thought he was going to get loose all the way on that one and get him some ground. But the Wildcats back to the 10-yard line now. 3rd and long. Williams in trouble again, gets back up to the line of scrimmage, and so the Tigers have answered the call and said to the Wildcats, you're not the only one that's going to give pressure to the offense.
Right. Well, once again, I talked about it earlier in the game. If Coach Fisher, the defensive coordinator for Tennessee State, gets you in 3rd and long, he will bring pressure from the stands. So, I mean, you never know where it may come from. That's a great series of downs for the defense, and that's a 3 and out. They lost over 10 yards, and we should have great field position for the Tigers.
All right, back to punt. Francis, more like Francois, gets a high kick. Fair catch called at the 49-yard line, and that could have been a flag. Once you call that fair catch, you cannot advance. The officials let that go, and Major Bellamy will have to learn that.
Yeah, I think he was kind of mad at himself because he looked down for a second and thought that he didn't have protection, but Roland had his man blocked, and so he really wanted to take off with the ball. Okay, well.
All right, fans, we're going to take a break. We'll be back in just a moment.
DVDs, and I figure out that I can get every single 30 for 30 documentary on my phone now because
I'm going to say something. All right, fans, we're back, and we'd like to apologize for the technical difficulties we're having. There's some kind of problem in the stadium with the timing of the commercials, and we'd just like to apologize for that. Hopefully, we'll be able to get it all together. All right, there's a handoff up the middle, and again, the Wildcats playing tough inside.
Yep, that's the inside zone read once again to Kendrick Roberson, and we're still waiting for Demery to keep that ball. I mean, he has to keep that ball one time and run with it. I mean, it's an option. So, I mean, let's see if we need to see his legs and get outside and make something happen with his feet.
All right, 3rd down, 4 yards to go. Croft, shotgun, back to pass. He's got time, and the pass was it's a bad pass. And we've got Newbold in the game now, but they weren't looking that way. So it's an interesting setup now when you have all your ammunition in the game, and Hughes is out of the game. I got to feel that Hughes must be hurt.
Well, if he's not hurt, this doesn't make any sense because right now he's 5 for 6, 101 yards, 2 touchdown drives, and he's the reason why we're up 14-3. I don't understand what's going on here. He has to be not feeling well.
All right, it's 4th down and 4. The Tigers are going for it. And it's the 32nd timeout, and we're going to stay right here with you, fans, as, again, we'd like to apologize for the timing of the commercials. It's something going on within the system, and hopefully that will get cleared up. I know it's frustrating for everybody, but we're going to get it together and keep bringing this game to you. 5 minutes, 39 seconds remaining in this first half. Tennessee State holding on to a 14-3 lead. They had momentum going with Hughes, but for some reason Hughes is not in the ball game. Croft did start. Hughes was looking healthy on the last touchdown drive, and then Croft being back in the game, maybe they're doing a two-quarterback system. It just doesn't seem to be working as well with Croft right now. But Bethune Cookman has a little bit to do with that, as their defense has toughened up. And there's some big guys on defense, too. Defensive end, Marquise Ford, 6'4", 240. Jerome Howard at tackle, 6'4", 315. Uriah Gilbert at nose tackle, 6'2", 330. Kevin Thompson at defensive end, 6'4", 250. So they've got a big team up front. Tigers punting. And a beautiful punt. It falls just outside the playing field, and it's going to be a touchback.
Well, right now you're playing the numbers. The defense has been very dominant the last two series with several negative plays for the Wildcats in a row. So Coach Reese decides to kick it, and he lost some yards there, but nevertheless the Tigers will start on defense and well inside of the Wildcats territory on the 20-yard line. He's hoping that his defense can get a 3-and-out.
All right, first down and 10, and the Wildcats huddling up on the sideline and taking their time as they're trying to get some momentum going. Tennessee State's defense holding tough.
Yeah, just talking about the quarterback system right now for the Tigers, I mean, it's not even close. Michael Hughes, 5 for 6, 101 yards, a 16.8 yards per catch. And Croft is 2 for 7 for 25 yards.
Williams back to pass, and it's complete. And the Tigers quickly cover. And they move the ball about 3 yards. On the reception, Jimmy Robinson. Second down, 8 yards to go for the Wildcats. Taking their time. Williams back to pass. He's got time, and it's incomplete. Pass going through the hands of their number one receiver, Kevon Mitchell. Couldn't hold on.
Well, we really got away with one that time, Howard. Number 13, Alvin Harper Jr. was wide open. I mean, it wasn't nobody. 20 yards right down the middle of the field. And he just wasn't, the quarterback just didn't see it. That was a big time opportunity for the Wildcats to cash in before the end of the half.
All right, third downs, 7 yards to go. Williams looking back across the field, and it's incomplete. He had everybody out there but a back.
Yeah, I think
he had the two linemen out there, but there was no receiver. And so it's going to be ineligible receiver downfield, and they're going to go backwards on that one.
Yeah, that was a throwback screen that Tupac Ishmael must have thought was right instead of left. Everybody went left, and he went right, thus causing a penalty. The Tigers should decline this and make it fourth down.
And, of course, the line down the field too far. You can't start running upfield until the ball is caught. But, you know, the play just didn't work. It was a bad, busted play, and the Wildcats are going to have to punt this ball.
Well, the Tigers get the ball back. Coach Reed made a good gamble for the Tigers and got a 3-and-out. So he gets his offense back on the field, which should be good territory and good field territory, and see if the offense can push it in before the half.
All right, Giovanni Francis standing back at his own 8-yard line. He gets off a low kick that's just going to go over the head, but it's one of those chip shots, man, that had backspin on it. And fortunately for the Tigers, that ball stuck in the turf.
Yeah, the Wildcat kicker has done an exceptional job today. He's been doing directional kicking, Hernandez, and he's kicked some balls with some backspin on them as well. So it's really been difficult for the Tigers returners to get a good catch and to get a chance to do anything with the football. So nevertheless, that's a good job on the special teams. Let's see who's their quarterback. Michael Hughes is back in the game.
Michael Hughes in the game for the Big Blue, so maybe had a stomach ache or something, or you know what? They've been running 2 quarterbacks all preseason, so Coach might just be sticking with his plan. And you know what? When it works, it works. When it doesn't, it doesn't.
Also in the game is Treon Harris, the former quarterback for the Tigers. He's at wide receiver wearing number 5. And so you have 2 quarterbacks out there, and you never know what's going on with that on the offensive side of the ball for the TSU Tigers.
Harrison picking up 3 yards on the play. 2nd down, 7 for the Big Blue. Hughes. Pass is complete, and the Tigers pick up a 1st down.
To Treon Harris, the quarterback we just spoke about. You try to get him the ball as soon as possible, and that's what that was. Let's say, get it to me right now and watch me do something with it. 1st down, Tigers.
Quarterback to quarterback, 1st down for the Big Blue. 13 yards and a 1st down. Hughes in trouble, and he's going to smartly go down. Great defensive play by Bethune Cookman.
Yeah,
number 40 on the tackle, Titus Curry.
Yeah, that defensive end has been getting a lot of pressure on the left side for the Tigers. The right tackle over there is Brooks, Justin Brooks out of Memphis, and he's been really struggling with him the whole game.
Tigers with a 2nd and 12. Pass over to Harris. He spins, still on his feet. Picks up a couple more yards on that play. He's always been a nifty runner. Once they get that ball in his hands, he can do all kind of things. Ball is advanced to the 46-yard line. It's going to be 3rd and 4 yards for the 1st down.
You know, that's just the extension of the run game, Howard. When you get that ball out there quick, a couple of blockers, the receivers block, that really helps, the quarterback get a good rhythm. And right now, Hughes is 7 for 9.
Hughes standing tall in the pocket. It's incomplete. And, boy, he almost broke loose on that one. Another 1st down for the Big Blue down to the 35-yard line. 11 yards on that pass play.
Well, the Tigers are catching the Wildcats trying to play man-to-man defense when they're trying to bring pressure. And the Tigers are hitting them with crossing routes, and they just can't contain Chris Rowland. That's another 1st down catch for him. He's having a big first half.
All right, 1st and 10 for the Big Blue. Hughes again to Harris. Harris finding running room. Boy, he is elusive.
Yeah,
and that's not Harris, is it?
Yeah, that's Seth Rowland.
Seth Rowland.
Getting the opportunity out of the backfield. That's the brother of Chris, the older brother. And he's a guy that when you get him lathered up, he can really get the ball rolling. That's a big 1st down play, and Michael Hughes is ahead of Stain.
2nd down. He almost got it. 2nd and 2. So we got a couple more yards to go before the 1st down. And there's flag on the play. False start. Tennessee State's 2nd penalty of the game.
Yeah, that was on Stephen Newbold. He didn't get set, and the Tigers are going fast. Michael Hughes has to make sure everybody is on the same snap count. Also, the left tackle, Jelks, moved early as well.
That's going to move the Tigers back to the 33-yard line. And Hughes is going to keep it with his big body, bulls his way up to around the 25-yard line. It's going to be close.
Well, we've been asking the quarterback to keep it, so Michael Hughes kept it, and his big body moved forward, and that's real close to a 1st down.
It is. They're going to mark it about a yard shy, a little less than a yard shy. 3rd and less than a yard to go for the Tigers for the first down. Rolling in the backfield, in motion. And he's going to keep it. Has a first down and more as the big 230-pound quarterback bulls his way across the 20 down to the 19-yard line.
Well, Michael Hughes is trying to make his presence be felt. I mean, he's looked like he has a man on a mission, and he's running with vigor, and he is controlling the Tigers' offense. First down, TSU Tigers.
Michael Hughes, 6'2", 230. He's a big body. 2 wideouts to either side.
They need to watch the clock.
And Hughes is going to keep it again. Maybe a couple yards on the play. Tennessee State trying to hold that clock a little bit with the timeout. We're going to stay right here with you with 23 seconds remaining in the half. Tigers would like to put it in the end zone, but they're definitely going to keep it in the middle of the field for the field goal attempt. And whoever attempts it is going to be his first field goal attempt as a Big Blue Tiger. Both of the kickers are freshmen.
Correct. And the kicking duties for kickoff has been Caleb Mosley. And Anthony Zeta has also had an opportunity to kick a couple of extra points. So it's interesting to see which one will do the kicking duties. Nevertheless, the Tigers have taken control of this game with a fast-paced, on-the-ground first offense that they talked about all off-season in camp, that they wanted to keep the ball on the ground. They wanted to have some controlled passing and get the quarterback in the running game as well, and that's what's going on with the Tigers so far.
All right, fans. Well, Tennessee State and Bethune-Cookman starting on a rain delay, and the first half started off kind of shaky. The Tigers, neither one of them, and the Wildcats came out real sharp. But this has turned into a football game now, and even though Bethune-Cookman is trailing 14-3, they're playing tough defensively. And there's going to be motion called against the Big Blue, and that's not what you want with 21 seconds left in the half.
Yeah, that's a mistake out of a timeout that you can't have, Howard. You just came out of a timeout. Everybody should know the snap count. And those are mental mistakes that really plagued the Tigers last year. That's one of the few penalties in the first half. Let's see if they can get that cleaned up.
2nd and 15 for the Big Blue. 23 seconds remaining in the half. Wideouts to either side. Hughes back to pass. He throws, and it's complete to Harris. And Harris bulls his way down to the 1-yard line. 1st and goal, Big Blue, with 15 seconds remaining in this half.
Yeah, that's we talked about it. We spotted it early. We saw Treon enter the game, and we said, whoa, that's a quarterback. He's been working exclusively as a receiver, but he's a playmaker, and he's making big plays. And how about Michael Hughes just having a phenomenal first half? I think he's only missed on 2 passes, and he is just controlling this offense.
Well, you know, I talked to Coach last night about Treon Harris, and they knew if Treon Harris could get his hands on the ball that he could do something with it. Of course, with him playing quarterback and you just now moving him to wide receiver or a receiver slot back or whatever, they just didn't know whether he could hold on to the ball, his true catching ability in game situations. Well, I guess what? I don't think there's a question about that anymore, is it?
And sometimes you're just an athlete, you know. Just give me the ball. And that's true with Treon.
Tennessee State with 246 total yards on offense and 188 passing yards so far in this first half.
Well, also, I found out the stat, Michael Hughes is 10 for 11, 163 yards. I mean, that is what, 90-plus percentage completion percentage?
That is. Well, he was the highest percentage passer last year in the OVC. 15 seconds remaining. Tigers want to score, but there's a fumble. Hughes picks it up, And he scores. My goodness. Fumble on the snap. The big guy picks it up and bulls his way over the end zone for a Tennessee State University touchdown.
Sometimes it's just your night, Howard.
Yeah, it is.
You know, sometimes this is what this guy has worked all off season for his time. And I know he was a little bit, perturbed about not getting the start, but he knew that he would play. And that's what you're talking about, grabbing an opportunity and doing the most with it. That is a phenomenal first half of Michael Hughes.
All right, well, the Tigers still putting points on the board. Antonio Zito in to attempt the point after. He's got his first 2 point after so far in this game, his first college game of his career. And that's his 3rd point as a collegian. And the Tigers go ahead by a score of 21-3 with 10 seconds remaining in this first half. These 23 seconds, it was 23 seconds when the Tigers had the penalty that pushed them back beyond, I don't know if it was beyond field goal range, but it pushed them back in a questionable situation. But the Tigers in 23 seconds were able to, matter of fact, the clock had ticked down to 21 seconds, were able to move that ball up the field for a touchdown, leading 21-3 in the John Merritt Classic, the 20th John Merritt Classic here in Nashville, Tennessee.
So let's have a little bit of stat talk. Right now, the penalties have been very low for both teams. That was an emphasis, a concern for both teams. Both were highly penalized last year. The Tigers have 3. The Bethune Cookman has 2. Time of possession right now goes to the Tennessee State Tigers, or over 17 minutes of time of possession. That goes directly to running the football. And then when your quarterback only misses 1 pass in the first half, that's a recipe of having some success.
But also, what about Treon Harris? Last year, Treon Harris was the, as Coach Big John Merritt would say, the Lord's Prayer. They came from the University of Florida, started for the Big Blue, and really was tearing it up in the first few ball games. Finally, Hughes took his starting role. Now, he's been moved to wide receiver, and he's become just a huge factor in this game. There's the kickoff. And the Tigers cover well.
Well, that's what you have to say of what the attitude of a team or a senior. He could have took things the wrong way, but he decided to just be a part of the team and also make sure that he was a part of the team and bring something positive. So for him to get an opportunity to play receiver and then come in right away and make big plays, it says a lot about the attitude and the whole camaraderie of this football team.
All right, we're still here because the half is not quite over yet, as the clock is showing 0, but the official is asking for seconds to be placed back on the board. The ball is on the 27-yard line, and the Wildcats will get one more play. What do you do here? Do you go for it and try to put points on the board, or do you take it on into the dressing room? 4 seconds remaining.
When you're on the road, you just take a knee and get into the locker room and get ready to make some adjustments.
Well, he's in the shotgun. He's sure not under center, so it doesn't look like a knee. He might still do it, and he's not. And there's the completion. I think that's to Mitchell. He's still on his feet. Finally knocked down by the Big Blue.
Well, there were 2 blocking the backs. They were pretty obvious on that play. Luckily for the Tigers that he didn't break loose. But nevertheless, that's a great half of football for the Tennessee State Tigers. The Bethune-Cookman got a little adjustments to make, but they are a very dangerous football team, but don't count them out.
All right, as the bands line up, we're getting ready for halftime. And it looks as though the Bethune-Cookman and fans, as the Bethune-Cookman band gets ready to take the field, we're going to take a break, and we'll be back for halftime activities after these messages.
On Saturday night.
And fans, would like to welcome you back to Nissan Stadium the Tennessee Titans Stadium, but tonight it's all Tennessee State University, as the Tigers of Tennessee State University are leading by a score of 21-3. The game started off a little, little rough. I mean, we had a problem with the weather, of course, and a late start. Both teams looked a little off kilter when they first got going, but after they got going, both of them had some big plays. But eventually, the Tigers really got on track with Hughes coming in at quarterback and really getting that ball in the air, having a phenomenal first half, and the Tigers now up 21-3.
Yep, well, the big thing was getting some kind of flow on offense. You know, the Tigers talking about get the ball, running the ball. That's what they tried to do in the first half. You know, they had several attempts, 28 attempts for the Tigers running the football, only have around 59 yards. Nevertheless, it was the play of Michael Hughes through the air that kind of loosen things up because, both teams wanted to be physical at the line of scrimmage. So we already knew that yardage was going to be tough. So thank God for Michael Hughes.
Well, Tennessee State last year had one of the top pass defenses in the nation, giving up just under 150 yards in the air, averaging just under 10 yards of reception against the defense, and so they were tightening up. The Tigers have given up a couple big passes in this ball game. One in particular, they got the Wildcats down to the 2-yard line, but then the defense comes back, toughens up, and they're able to hold them out of the end zone. But, we're missing two major defenders in that defensive backfield, and they're still pulling it off and pulling it together.
Yeah, the Wildcats only have 90 yards through the air in the first half and have 13 carries for 31 yards rushing. So for a total of 121 yards, you can't complain about that. So that's what Coach Fisher talked about, bringing a lot of pressure, stopping the run game, and the defensive side of the ball executed well.
The Wildcats have a huge offensive line, and again with them last year, they were averaging over 200, almost 250 yards a game in the air and doing real well on the ground, but the Tigers have been able to shut them down in this first half. We're going to take a break as the Tigers are leading at halftime, 21-3. We'll be back in just a moment.
He going to be okay?
Displaced ego. It's going to be a tough climb back.
We're back at the Nissan Stadium here in Nashville, Tennessee, and if you all are watching the bands, it's a very unusual sight to see the bands run off the field and run on the field. But, sometimes, again, they scout each other. They know what they're doing, and a lot of the competition between the bands is very friendly, as Bethune-Cookman is sitting on the sideline now watching to see what the Big Blue Tigers are going to do. Tennessee State leading 21-3 in this first half of play, and we had the scoring. Let's go over the scoring that happened in the first and second quarter. With 2 minutes, 7 seconds remaining in the first quarter, Tennessee State University scored on a 20-yard pass from Hughes to Devon Johnson, and, of course, Zito kicked the extra point. But Hughes was inserted in the game, and what happened? He started moving that ball down the field 6 for 5 before that touchdown and put the first points on the board.
Yeah, that's what really happened in that first quarter. We noticed that Stephen Newbold did not start, and we kind of asked questions about that. We also found out that Stephen Hughes wasn't going to start at quarterback as well. So about 6 minutes in the first quarter, Hughes was inserted in at quarterback, and that's when everything started changing. He started hitting his favorite receiver from last year, Chris Rowland. He also found a run game to Kendrick Roberson. And then when it got close to the red zone, he found his buddy Devon Johnson for a 20-yard touchdown. Then he hit him again on the second drive for a big-time play as well.
And then with 3 seconds remaining in the first quarter, DeMarco Corbin scored on a 1-yard run. Again, Zeta with the point after, but Hughes, again with his arm, got the Tigers in that scoring position.
Yeah, he had a total command of the offense. He looked like the most experienced quarterback, which he is for the Tigers. You know, we thought that we would see a little bit more rushing and more legs from Croft. He just seemed like he couldn't get in rhythm. You know, even when he ran the football, he struggled. But nevertheless, that's why you have two quarterbacks, right? You can play with the hot hand, and undoubtedly, Michael Hughes was the hot hand in the first half.
And with 11 minutes remaining in the second quarter, Bethune-Cookman scored on a 46-yard field goal by Hernandez. But what really kept that that drive, was an amazing pass down to the 2-yard line, but Bethune-Cookman started going backwards after that, but Hernandez was able to salvage with a 3-point conversion.
Yeah, Bethune-Cookman has been playing two quarterbacks as well. They started with David Israel, and he didn't really get things moving. They really didn't have any success until they brought in their backup, Acavius Williams, the 3-star out of Madison, Florida. By the time he came in, he had a 50-yard run for the Bethune-Cookman Wildcats. He also hit Cruz on a big-time pass down the left side all the way down to the 2-yard line. But then the Bethune-Cookman Wildcats shot themselves in the foot and lost 30 yards and had to kick a field goal.
Surprisingly, Croft was inserted back into the game in the second quarter. Couldn't move the Tigers. Hughes was placed back in the game again. And, of course, he scored on a fumble that he picked up from the 1-yard line. Zeta with the extra point, and the Tigers have the lead of 21-0. But, again, that period with Croft in the game, the Tigers just weren't able to move the ball to the end zone. Hughes comes in the game, big difference.
Yeah, on that last drive, we also forgot to talk about Treon Harris. Treon Harris was inserted into the game with that last drive with Michael Hughes, and he hit him several times for positive plays. Matter of fact, he hit Treon Harris, the former quarterback, to take it down to the 1-yard line, where he took it in for himself for a touchdown.
All right, fans, the score 21-3 as the Tigers lead at halftime. The Big Blue Tiger Band, the Aristocratic Bands, on the field now. We're going to take a break. You're listening to ESPN Plus Tennessee State University football. And we'd like to welcome you back to Nissan Stadium here in Nashville, Tennessee, as the Tennessee State University Tigers are leading 21-3 over the Bethune-Cookman Wildcats. And just looking at the stats, first down, Bethune-Cookman 3, Tennessee State 12. Yards rushing, Bethune-Cookman 31, Tigers 59. Passing, Cookman 90, Tennessee State 188. Total offense, Bethune-Cookman 121 yards, Tennessee State 247 yards. And I'll tell you what, Bethune-Cookman has continued from last year. Their punter, Hernandez, averaging 48 yards a punt, but the Tigers 39, so both punters doing a good job.
Yeah, Howard, the other thing that stands out and when you're looking at these stats is that the Bethune-Cookman Wildcats are 0 for 6 on third down conversions, while the Tigers are 5 of 9 for third down conversions. So that being said, that's how you get on or off the field. The Tigers' defense are getting off the field, and the Tigers' offense is getting on the field. That's the major key of the first half. I'm pretty sure Coach Sims and his staff have made some adjustments, so this game is far from over.
All right, we're about to get this second half underway as the Tigers have 2 deep on the return. And that ball is going to go out of bounds, so Tigers will start with good field position at the 35-yard line.
Yeah, we talked about that, Howard. That when you kick it out of bounds, you get it on the 35-yard line. So, once again, the Tigers come out of half with great field position. It's for the Tigers offense to hit the field. Looked like there was a penalty on the play. There was offsides on the Wildcats, and the Tigers are electing to get a re-kick. So they're trying to get the ball to Major Bellamy. I mean, they feel like their special team play is something special, and so he wants them to re-kick it.
Hey, well, that's also kind of a slap in the face of the Rules Committee as they're trying to cut down on kickoff returns with the new rules that were just instituted. And Tennessee State says, no, we want another chance because that's going to move them back. And chances are that ball's not going to go into the end zone, and the Tigers will be able to take that kick in a good field position. And look who's back there to receive.
Yeah, looks like it's Stephen Newbold that's getting a chance. We haven't talked about him the whole game, which we thought he was going to be Mr. Everything for the Tigers, as it shows the depth of the offensive weapons the Tigers have. Now he's back on kickoff return along with Major Bellamy.
Well, he's back there with Bellamy, and we'll see. That might be Killings back there. I think that's number 7, isn't it?
No, that's Major Bellamy.
Oh, it's Bellamy?
Yes,
okay.
sir. That's Major Bellamy back there. He's a speed demon.
All right, well, we're going to have a re-kick from the 30-yard line, and it's going to give Newbold a chance to handle it around the 12-yard line. And it's a good move up the middle, and Newbold is on the way as he's still on his feet up around the 50-yard line and finally marked out of bounds just across the 50. So a good call for Coach Reed, a bad decision by Bethune-Cookman.
Well, you know, it's just a matter of time that Mr. Newbold is going to get an inch and he'll make it a mile. He is a dynamic ball player that it has to get started for the Tigers to have success on the season.
Well, they're going to mark him out of bounds at the 46-yard line, so he didn't quite make it to midfield, but a great return.
And at quarterback, Demi Croft is right back in.
Croft in the ball game. And he throws and is complete. Up the field goes number 3, Chris Rowland, for a huge first down play.
That's a big play for Croft. He comes out, he didn't have a great first half, and he comes out and connects on his first throw to Mr. Rowland, who has just lit up the Wildcats zone offense, and that's another big play of over 20-plus yards for him.
Rowland had over 80 yards in the first half. That's a 36-yard play by Rowland. Croft is going to keep it. Now, you know what? I'm going to get off Croft for a second and really get on a smart decision by number 13, Devon Johnson. Croft has set Devon up to make a block, but if he had made that block, he would have blocked the defender in the back, as you can see in the replay. Instead, he chose not to make that block, and thus the Tigers get a good gain and second down and 7 yards to go. Just a smart play by Devon Johnson.
Well, we've been telling him to keep that ball, and he finally did. And they've been trying to find an opportunity for Coach Rowland, and they have found plenty, as once again the junior out of Brentwood has the ball in his hand and is real close to another first down. What a phenomenal night for Chris Rowland.
Chris Rowland having a big day now on the ground and in the air, as he has over 100 yards in pass receptions, and now he's starting to rack it up on the ground.
Don't forget about Seth, who's also had a big play. So the Rowland family is just on display tonight in Nashville at the John Merritt Classic. Great for area kids to get this type of shine.
First down and goal for the Tigers. Croft at quarterback. And there's a lane. Hard hit, but down to the 2-yard line goes Tenderick Roberson. And it's going to be second down and goal from around the 3-yard line. They're going to mark him down at the 3.
Yeah, Kendrick was the leading rusher in the first half. He had 10 attempts in the first half, and he's coming out in the second half, and they're giving him another chance, and they're running the football, and they're staying true to what they talked about in the game meeting, is that they was going to run the football.
Bethune-Cookman playing tough out there on defense, though. Number 19, Marquise Hendricks, and also Vernon Walker did a great job of getting outside and making the stop. Tigers have third down and goal from the 2.
Yeah, looked like a quarterback sneak on that play.
It looked like rugby. as they had a big scrum in the middle, and Bethune was real tough in that middle.
Yeah, looked like the big boy package is coming in. You know, last year the Tigers struggled with short yardage downs, and I was really surprised to see them not come to that package right away. Looks like now they brought in a couple of extra linemen, and now they're going on 4th down and inches and see if the Tigers can punch through.
Well, I'll tell you what, tough call by Coach Reed. Let's see if it works. Flag on the play. Tigers have a false start again. Penalties in these kind of situations can kill you. Fortunately, the Tigers are leading 21-3, but this is where you have to do it all right.
Yeah, that doesn't really sit well with what we talked about early in the game about mental mistakes and hurting yourself in these type of situations. There's no reason for a team to false start on a 4th and 1 when you're falling forward. So that's just a mental mistake. And those are the things that the Tigers did last year that really put them in the bind. Hopefully Zeta can get some points on the board after a phenomenal drive by the Tigers.
23-yard field goal attempt. Good snap. Kick is up. And the kick is good. So the Tigers put 3 on the board as they couldn't punch it in from the 3-yard line. 11 minutes, 43 seconds remaining in the third quarter. Tennessee State University takes a 24-3 lead over the Bethune Cookman Wildcats.
Yeah, that was a good drive, but you want to see 7 right there, especially when you get inside the red zone.
All right, fans, with the score 24-3, we're going to take a break. We'll be back in a moment. You're listening to Tiger Football on ESPN.
Kobe Bryant, Julius Erving, Oscar Robertson, Irvin.
We're back at Nissan Stadium in Nashville, Tennessee, where the Tigers have scored on a field goal by Zeta. And the Tigers have a 24-3 lead on a great drive. But, of course, they would rather see 7 points being that close to the goal line. 1st and goal at the 3.
Well, we're talking about championship teams, right? We're
That's
talking
right.
about what championship teams do to become a championship team. They don't make mistakes like 4th and 1 and get a false start. They don't do a 3rd and 2 and do a quarterback sneak. Those are things you just can't have in a championship season. You got to punch it in. This Bethune-Cookman team is very, very dangerous. They haven't got got things rolling for them, but they came back last year against FAMU, 14 points in the fourth quarter and won the Florida Classic. So this game's not over.
Oh, no, it's not over. And Bethune-Cookman has the players that can put points on the board. And so Tennessee State is going to have to play up to par and continue to press on defense. So, 1st down and 10, ball at the 25-yard line. And handoff up the middle, maybe a yard on the play.
Yeah, that looks like Tupac Isme. And the Wildcats have started with Akevius Williams back at quarterback, who had the most success in the first half. So David Israel has been set down. And so the Wildcats come right back out and go back to the running game that they talked about they wanted to stick to.
All right, well, the Tigers are going to have to play tough. Right now, 4-3 defense. And there's pass up middle to the big tight end. And, boy, is he rolling up the field. Another big pass play for the Wildcats. Number 83.
Yeah, that's Mr. Mallard for the Wildcats.
Taryn Mallard, 6'6", 250 pounds. He's a load.
Yeah, that's what happens with that play action. You stick to your running game, and then you finally get you a hot pass to your tight end. That was ran to perfection, and here comes the Wildcats.
29 yards on that last play. Anthony Cruz on the reception. He's 6'5", 210, and gets up close to the first down. 8 yards, maybe 9, 8 yards on the play. And it's going to be a 2nd and 2. Errant pass. Sideline by the Big Blue. Number 10, Cummings.
Yep, actually.
Nesbitt. That was Nesbitt.
Yeah, actually that's Nesbitt. That's our best cornerback, or the best cornerback for the Tennessee State Tigers. I'm a little concerned that the double move is somewhere close. They've been throwing that little hitch route the whole game, and Nesbitt has been biting on it a little bit. So let's keep our eye on what the Wildcats call here.
Cruz is a senior, and he knows what to do. And that's going to be close to the first down. We'll have to wait and see with the mark.
Yeah, that's Tupac Isme, their star tailback. It's just not finding a lot of room.
4th and 1, they're going for it. Tigers penetrate. And it looks like they might have stopped, but it's according to where that marker is going to go.
Well, the official on our side, which is the Bethune Cookman side, that play went away from him. That play went to the left side, which was the Tiger side, and it was about a good yard difference of where the two line judge came in. So this is going to be an interesting.
It's going to be a close one.
Spot.
Yeah, I thought that the spot from the TSU side was back a little farther, but we'll see. We'll see. It is a game of inches, and inches can go both ways. And looks like the Big Blue held. So the inches worked for the Tigers of TSU on that one. Good defensive stand for the Big Blue.
Well,
but again, Bethune-Cookman with a big play, and they can't ever continue. They cannot back up that big play.
Yeah, the Tigers' defense has been stellar today. I mean, they've been but haven't broken. And once again, they get the ball back to the offense in great territory, and Croft is still in the game.
All right, Croft, the quarterback, still yet to score, but doing a good job. Boy, oh boy, is that rolling?
No, that's the bruising back. That's DeMarco Corbin out of Arizona, the transfer. He is the bruiser out of the bunch of running backs, and he carried folks about 5 yards on that play.
Yeah, Corbin 6'1", 225, and he is a bruiser. A pickup of 9 yards, 2nd and 1. And there he goes again. And again, taking 2 or 3 tacklers, would-be tacklers, with him, crossing the 50 down to the 44-yard line. Pickup of 7. First down for the Big Blue.
Yeah, Howard, after all the running the Tigers have done in the first half, when you bring in a fresh back that size, this can be demoralizing. So let's see if they keep feeding the big back and see if he get a little stronger, if that's possible.
Well, you know I'm partial to the lineman now. Give him a little credit. And there they go upfield. And it's incomplete. Pass intended for Newbold.
Yeah, he was blanketed by their best cornerback, Elliott Miller. He was a key player to watch in this game, and he's given Stephen Newbold absolutely no space to get the ball, and that's one of the things they talked about. They said they wasn't afraid of Newbold. They said they had Elliott Miller on the outside that was going to trail him, and he's doing a phenomenal job.
Well, I'm going to tell you, they got Harris in the game, they got Johnson in the game, they've got Newbold in the game, and also Chris Rowland. The arsenal is there, and they go to the running back. And he bulls his way up to around the 40-yard line. Pickup of 3 on the play. 2nd and 7.
Yes, well, it looked like Croft is starting to get a little bit of a rhythm. I mean, he's hit on his last couple of passes, but this is a big 3rd down to see if he can keep the Tigers out on the field. 3rd and 8, 3rd and 7 inside of the Wildcats territory. Let's see what the Tigers do here.
Seth Rowland in the backfield. Croft taking his time. Pressure's coming. Oh, man. He's trying to run somewhere, but I think that time he decided to go a little too quick. He pulled that ball down and really had pretty good blocking around him, they were pressuring, but not to the point of having to run that ball.
Yeah, that was definitely – he got out of the pocket extremely too quick. I mean, he had the pocket. The offensive line had formed the pocket. All he needed to do was set his feet and make a solid read and throw. Once again, he's been struggling, and it's interesting to see who comes in the next drive.
4th down, 11 yards to go. Good punt down to the 10-yard line. And that's Mitchell still on his feet. Still on his feet, and finally corralled by the Big Blue. He doesn't want to go down. A great return by Mitchell. And on the stop for the Big Blue.
They're going to laugh at this, Howard.
Caleb Mosley.
That's Caleb Mosley. Welcome to college football, son. I mean, he put his nose in there and ended that play where it looked like it was very dangerous. And here comes the true freshman kicker to make the play.
All right, 1st down and 10 for the Wildcats. Trailing Tennessee State University by a score of 24-3. Quarterback coming in the game for the Wildcats, number 10, Arcavius Williams. Let's see if he can get them going. Pass was overthrown. Intended for Jonathan Thomas. And if you've noticed, they've started throwing quicker passes now. They're not holding it in the pocket as long because Tennessee State is bringing it.
Yeah, Jonathan Thomas is a guy that we wanted to talk about a little bit. He spent time in the offseason in Australia studying abroad and played some rugby football. So this is the first time we had a chance to call his numbers. It's been all the Cruz and Harper that's been getting all the play.
Pass to the big tight end is complete. Pickup of about 3 yards on the play. Good stop by TSU on the tackle. Blair Edwards. And he had a load to bring down. Mallet, 6'6", 250 pounds. Blair put a little hit on him. 5 yards on the play.
3rd and long again, Howard. Bethune-Cookman has not had any success on 3rd down. And once again, they're stopped on 3rd down. That has really been an Achilles heel for the Wildcats. And I'm thinking that they're going to try to do something kind of a little tricky here because they got to change the momentum of this game. And you're right around the middle of the field. Well, you're deep on your side of the territory. But, sometimes you just got to be a gambler and try something here.
Darren Wilson on the carry, couldn't get it done. So, into punt. Francis. Back to receive for the Tigers. Newbold. No.
Yeah, that's Chris Rowland.
Chris Rowland back to receive. Rowland's going to catch it and try to get some return going here. Got a good block. Still on his feet. It's rolling to the 50, 40, and he's finally run down. Boy, oh boy, did he get a block to break him loose.
Howard, I think it's safe to say this is the Chris Rowland show tonight. He has put on a phenomenal show. Over 100 yards in receiving yards. He's run the football. He's caught the football. Now he's back at punt returner, and that's more than 20 or 30 yards of gains on that play. It's the Chris Rowland show.
It is the Chris Rowland show. He's having a big day out here as the Tigers will take it on offense at the Wildcat 41-yard line.
And Michael Hughes is in the game.
Michael Hughes in the ball game now, and let's see how that goes. And that's Rowland on the carry.
That's another Rowland. That's Big Brother Seth. I spent a little time with the Rowland family before the game. They had a cookout with the parents, and the mom was walking around with a Tiger shirt on, and she must have knew something we didn't know, how that her sons were going to come out and play tonight.
Chris Rowland with 119 yards in receiving. And we'll look at his special team stats and see how that goes. Tigers pick up 6 yards on the play, 2nd and 4. Hughes has time. He's going upfield.
Oh.
Johnson wide open, but he went inside instead of outside. Bad read on somebody's part.
Yeah, when you see the quarterback roll to that side and then the receiver go away from him, I believe that's the receiver's made a mistake, because if he runs the post corner that was thrown, that was a touchdown. I spoke early on it, and looks like that was just some communication errors.
Well, that's the way it goes sometimes. Wide open, good blocking, had time, just couldn't pull that one off. 3rd down, 4 yards to go.
The Tigers are 5 for 11 on 3rd down, while the Wildcats are 0 for 8. So a little bit under 50%. So they've been having some success on 3rd down.
Hughes got time. He throws. It's complete. 1st down. Harris on the reception. And he's moved the ball all the way down to around the 23-yard line. It's a 1st down for the Big Blue.
Well, Treon Harris back in the game, in the slot. Once again, the Tigers are giving the Wildcats trouble with their man-to-man defense. So the Tigers are just running crossing routes and running away from their defenders. And Hughes has been finding them the whole game. 1st down, Tigers.
That was a 20-yard pass play to Treon. And the Tigers have it on the 23-yard line. There was an injured player on the field. He's coming off under his own ability. That's Kennedy Nwaki. And it looks like he's going to be okay.
Yeah, he's been having a big game for the Wildcats. I mean, he's a senior, and he's played strong safety, and he's been involved in a lot of plays for the Wildcats. They can't afford to lose him.
And I got to get him right. Ndukwe. I got it. Ndukwe. I hope my mother's not listening. She would say, son, you should have learned those names before the game. And the truth is, I tried.
Oh, yeah. You know, it's great to be up here, and the fun of trying to find the numbers when a team is maroon and gold and they come out in silver numbers. Like we were prepared for that. So, nevertheless, it's been a little struggle to see the numbers up here.
Well, they're probably pretty down on the field. Hughes back to pass. And he basically throws it out of bounds. Newbold was out there to receive it, but to no avail. It's going to be 3rd down now. 10 yards to go for the Big Blue.
Yeah, I saw the referee on the line judge on that side throw his hat, so I believe Newbold was out of bounds. Nevertheless, that's the first time that Michael Hughes looked a little, flustered in the pocket. But nevertheless, he made a good decision to throw it away. He's missed his last 2 attempts, so now it's 3rd down and 10.
All right, flag on the play. False start again for the Big Blue. 3rd down, 23-yard line. False start.
Well, we talked about the mental mistakes. Now the Tigers are starting to have mental mistakes. That's penalty number 6, and the majority are pre-snap.
Pass is knocked away, and the Tigers are going to have to make a decision. Ball right now on the 27-yard line.
Yeah, that's
probably a little far for a field goal, but let's see what they do.
Yeah, looks like they're going to bring in the true freshman Mosley. He's the long distance kicker. Nevertheless, this is 45 yards here. Welcome to the college football.
Well, give him one more. It's going to be 46. Look at there. Let's see what he does. Good snap, good hold, and it's going to be a little short. So, Bethune Cookman needs to be pretty pleased with the outcome, as they've been able to hold the Tigers down with no score.
Yeah, that was one of the things that we talked about coming out of halftime, is that the Tigers need to keep their foot on the throttle. So what we have now is that the Tigers have not scored nothing but a field goal, and the defense has still been great.
All right, fans, we'll be back in a moment. You're listening to Tiger Football. And Bethune-Cookman on the move. Big tight end again with the reception and a first down. The ball at the 48-yard line.
Yeah, that's the big sophomore, Taron Mallard, number 83. I mean, he's starting to find some holes in the seam of the TSU Tigers defense. That's his second big completion in the second half.
Tigers again playing tough on the line of scrimmage.
But you notice, Howard, they've gone exclusively to Akevius Williams at quarterback. You know, they've trying to get into a rhythm. He's been the best that has the most success out of all of the other quarterbacks. So sometimes you got to stick with a hot hand. You know.
Dante Ferguson on the tackle for the Tigers. 1 yard gain on that play. Pass is complete, but to no avail. A loss of 1. Complete to Jimmy Robinson. Tigers on top of that one.
Yeah, the Tigers brought a strong side blitz with Shakir Jackson. We haven't mentioned him today. He's the junior out of Georgia, and he was in the backfield right away and caused for that play to be blown up from the beginning. Once again, 3rd and long for the Wildcats. This is not where you want to be with the Tigers defense. Wow.
Good hit by Tennessee State's Nesbitt, but the little running back, he's really not that little, kept on barreling on, and that's Isaac Washington, 5'9", but 190 pounds. He's compact and tough to bring down, but not enough yards for a first down. 4th down and about 4 yards to go.
Well, the trend continues. The Wildcats have not converted 1 third down tonight, and you got to start to believe that they're going to get desperate here. They're on plus territory. So I'm the Tigers. I'm looking for something, a little funny here when it comes to some kind of trick play maybe.
That punt's going to come right to Roland, and he's wrapped up. Good tackle, good play by number 22, running back Jimmy Robinson. Now, the Tigers have given up 148 yards in the air. That is what they averaged defensively last year. Got another quarter to go.
Yep, that's who was at quarterback for the Tigers. It looks like it's Michael Hughes. So, look like there's a system where they're going back-to-back for each quarterback and sticking true. But sometimes when you got a quarterback that was hot as Michael Hughes in the first half, you just got to see if he's going to miss a pass. My goodness, he just was phenomenal in the first half.
All right, Michael Hughes in the ball game now. Tigers at their own 15-yard line. Handoff up the middle. Wildcats playing tough.
Yeah, once again, that's to Kendrick Roberson. He's a little bit under 200 pounds, but man, he really runs hard in between the tackles. That's a short game, but once again, getting back to the run game, and they had success with play action in the first half.
Najee Young really stuffing it up in the middle, 6'2", 300 pounds from Fort Lauderdale. As I said earlier, they're a big team. Big team. Wow, great move. Still moving up that field.
That's
to Kendrick Roberson. My goodness.
Well, there was a lot of questions, you know. He's a newcomer on the Tigers offense, and you had some folks that had some success like Curtis and Roland, but he came in camp and has just taken it over the starting role just because of that type of burst and speed on the outside. He's a home run hitter.
Well, he's shown you that he can run that football all the way up to the 44-yard line, 25 yards on the carry. As Hughes on the keeper, I guess. He faked the handoff up the middle, followed the back right up, and picked up 2 yards.
Well, talking with Coach Parker, he said that the quarterbacks will be part of the run game this year. And so there's not a zone option if the quarterback never keeps it. So sometimes he has to keep it. And so there's been some success there. The Tigers are going into the fourth quarter with a 21-point lead. It's time for them to try to finish this for the 20th annual John Merritt Classic.
All right, Tennessee State University, 24-3 is the score as the John Merritt Classic moves to the fourth and final quarter. Tigers on the move offensively. As the kickoff will be ensuing. So we'll be back in a moment. You're listening to TSU Football on ESPN. Fans, we're back here at Nissan Stadium in Nashville, Tennessee, as Tennessee State University leads Bethune Cookman in the fourth and final quarter, 24-3. Tigers have the ball, 2nd and 8. Hughes at quarterback, and the Tigers have stayed with the dual quarterback system. Hughes so far is the more effective quarterback, but they are sticking with the dual quarterback system.
Yeah, well, also Bethune-Cookman came into the game today with the same type of system. Right. So it's early in the season, so people are trying to figure out who's going to be their go-to.
It's past the Newbold, or it was intended for Newbold, but Harris was on the wrong foot and really wasn't set up to throw that ball. Newbold's coming across the middle, and he was in a position to catch that ball. It was thrown behind him.
Yeah, that's the things that you'd be concerned about with a two-quarterback system. When you got somebody in rhythm and you got somebody on a roll, you'll like to keep them on a roll. And Hughes has definitely cooled off in the second half and has missed his last 4 out of his last 5 complete attempts.
All right, third down, 7 yards to go. In motion is Harris, and timeout called by the Big Blue.
That's the second time that the Tigers have had some confusion when Treon is in slot. I don't know if that has to do anything with him being at a new position, but that's been several times, or the third time that I can count, that he was supposed to go in motion or somebody waved at him to go to motion, and nevertheless it cost the Tigers a timeout. This is what I want to see in the fourth quarter. I want to see some clean football. I don't want to see mental mistakes. I want to see this game completed like a championship team is supposed to complete.
All right, we were talking about Chris Rowland and his offensive production. Right now he's got 119 receiving yards, 52 yards on punt returns. And so he's pushing 200 yards in total offense and total production today in this ball game.
Yeah, he also has a carry for 8 yards. So, yes, he's accounted for a lot of yards.
But if I was a better mathematician, I could actually figure that out. Almost 180 yards, correct. 179, I think, to be exact. So I'm not that bad.
Oh, no.
Last math class I took was about 40 years ago, but still, you know.
Well, it's hard to count when Bethune-Cookman's band is blowing right in your ear. I mean, they are right here beside us. I don't know if y'all can hear them or not. They sound great, but Hey, it's hard to count. Let us stop. Think.
Well, this is the 20th John Merritt Classic football game right here in Nissan Stadium. And guess how long the stadium's been here?
How long?
Almost 20 years.
Almost 20 years. But that's all right.
Matter of fact, it has to be, because every game was played right here in Nissan Stadium.
Well, here's a big third down. The Tigers have had some success on third down. Let's see if they can keep up the trend. And there is another pre-snap penalty. These are the things that drive you absolutely nuts. That's a receiver.
That's a receiver. False start. Number 9, Moore. Al-Malik Moore, freshman, redshirt freshman, and just took off a little too quick.
You know, the Tigers fell into this trend last year. They play one good half of football, then the second half they go to sleep. And that's what's going on right now. The third quarter was not a very good quarter for the Tigers. They've played down to the Wildcats in the third quarter, not scoring a bunch of points. They need to put this ball game away.
3rd and 14. Hughes back to pass. The rush is on. It's going upfield. Nobody there, but at least we saw he could throw the ball a long way.
Yeah, that was a miscommunication of some type. Neither receiver was open. But this is the things they got to clean up in the second half. A lot of people are concerned about a 2-quarterback system just because this is the things that kind of happen. You catch a guy that's hot, the other guy's not hot. Now you got both of them not hot, and the offense is sputtering. So the defense got to keep Bethune Cookman at bay and hopefully have some good special team play as well. Make sure we don't give up any big plays.
As a return, he gets to the sideline and run out of bounds around the 31-yard line. And that's number 6 on the carry, Malik Jackson. Pretty good return for Jackson.
Yes, usually that's Kevon Mitchell. That was their player to watch, and he's not back there, and we haven't talked about him much at all in the second half. I don't know if he's injured or not. I'm going to try to spot him when the Wildcats offense gets back on the field this series.
Well, they say Jackson's run out of bounds around the 29-yard line, so we'll mark it down there. And again, just looking at the stats, Tennessee State has definitely overpowered the Bethune Cookman ball club, but Tennessee State, as you said, starting to pick up penalties, and at times where you just don't want penalties. When you're ready to score, if this were a tight game, that could be a killer. Your third downs and your scoring position, you just don't want to have those type penalties happen, especially those penalties before the snap.
Correct. And those are the things that we were looking to see if the Tigers had addressed in the offseason and cleaned up. Now, the Tigers have not had a bunch of penalties. They have 7 penalties, but that's too much for a championship team. If they want to be a championship team, they can't have 7, 8, 10 penalties a game, and the majority of them being, pre-snap penalties, just mental mistakes. So right now, even though they're up by 21 points, they are doubling the penalty count of Bethune Cookman. So Bethune Cookman has 3 penalties. Tennessee State has 7 penalties. They got to clean that up if they're going to be competitive in the OVC.
All right, first down, 10 yards to go. Ball at the 29-yard line. The Wildcats' 29-yard line. 3 wide outs to the left, 2 wide outs to the left. Pass almost deflected, but it was complete. And almost a 6-yard gain on that play.
Yeah, that's the Q-Sean Bird There's their little Swiss Army knife. They talked about how fast he was, and that was a screenplay. And if it wasn't for Nick Harper Jr., he might have been off to the races. Those are the things that big-time defenses stop, and that was a one-man stop. Good play by Harper Jr.
All right, 2nd down, 4 yards to go. There's a foot race upfield, ball overthrown. And good coverage by the Big Blue.
Yeah, that was to their sophomore, Jonathan Thomas. He tried to do a seam route, and on the coverage was Shakir Jackson, the junior out of Georgia. He's filling in tonight for Vincent Sellers, who was out for this game, and he's been doing an excellent job.
All right, it's a big 3rd down play for Bethune. Receiver open and steps out of bounds. Mitchell on the reception, and it's a 1st down for the Wildcats.
Yep, I believe that's the first 3rd down conversion for the Wildcats, and I just talked about Mr. Kayvon Williams, and there he is for the 1st down catch of the outstretched hands of Josh Green.
1st and 10, ball at the 43-yard line. And the Tigers come from the left side, and coming out of nowhere, Christian Abercrombie untouched, and there's the sack all the way back to the 34-yard line.
Yeah, that time the Tigers switched up their coverage and brought a middle backer, Mr. Abercrombie, and he got there for a major loss. Also a cleanup on that last play. I've been calling Josh Green. It's actually James Green is the older brother. Josh Green is the freshman cornerback. Sorry for the mix-up.
And there's a quarterback keeper, and he's got a lot of real estate back on the carry. Arkevius Williams brings the ball all the way to midfield. Big pickup for the Wildcats.
Yeah, that was a run play, quarterback draw the whole way, and they've caught the Tigers. That was a great timeout by Coach Fisher because the Tigers were unorganized. But once again, the only offense for the Wildcats have been their quarterback, Arkevius Williams, and he's been the leading rusher, and he's had a couple of big passing plays to keep the Wildcats into the game. So the Tigers just allowed the first 3rd down conversion. Let's see what they do on this 3rd down.
All right, well, Tennessee State University calling timeout. They saw something that interests them, and they wanted to hold this team up before this big 3rd down play. And I know Coach Reed is standing over there on that sideline with 12:15 remaining, knowing that his team hasn't really put any more points on the board, and understanding that it takes one big score by the Wildcats to get them fired up and to get the momentum going. And he just wants to make sure that there's no breakdown on this 3rd and 4. You might see the Wildcats going 2 downs. Not normally would you do that, but at this point in the game, this might be a 2-down situation. He needs to have his team ready.
Yeah, well, it's a desperation time for the Wildcats. They've been conservative the second half. They really haven't tried anything. You know, they try to stay on course on their game plan, but you got to know that it's something coming here soon. And the Tigers are kind of just mulled around in the second half and just kind of let them stick around and haven't closed the door shut. And so, therefore, we're still in the 4th quarter with 12 minutes left in the game because, you know, the Wildcats won the Florida Classic last year in the 4th quarter with 14 points in the 4th quarter. So they're able to do it.
All righty. Let's see what's going to happen. Williams back to pass. He throws. He has a man in the middle, and that is his number 1 receiver, and it's a 1st down.
Yep, that's
Mitchell.
Yep, I haven't talked about Mitchell, And that was their number one weapon on offense, and now he's shown up. And so, first down Wildcats.
First down Wildcats at the 37. Back to pass, and ball thrown upfield. Route really was well covered by the cornerback and the safety, and kind of put it on out there.
Yeah, on the coverage is Nick Harper Jr. on Alvin Harper Jr. Those guys have been going at it all night.
That's going to be a discussion for later on, I'm sure, with both families. Second down, 10 yards to go. Ball on the 37. That's a TSU 37. Williams, quarterback, quick pass to Mitchell. And he's stopped after about a 5-yard gain.
Well, the Wildcats offense that has opened it wide up. They're throwing it almost every down. They came in with a commitment to the run game. That's been thrown out the window. They're tossing it every down. That's a positive play, but that's a 3rd and 7 to go.
Devon Bryant on the tackle, and Mitchell comes off the field injured. Looks like a shoulder. His pass is incomplete. He found his receiver open, but threw it a little behind him. Pass intended for Jonathan Thomas. Couldn't hold on. It's going to be 4th and 7.
Yeah, the Tigers got away with that. They lost contain. Mickey Brown took an inside rush, and Williams is fleet of foot. He can get around that corner. And most time when you lose containment, bad things happen for your defense. Nevertheless, it's 4th and 7. This could be the game right here.
Williams looking upfield. He's got time. Here comes the pressure. And he's going to have to run it out of bounds. Good coverage downfield by the Big Blue. And, of course, on the pursuit, big number 97, Justin Culpepper, along with number 44, London Brazil.
Yeah, right there, the Wildcats chose to roll a right-handed quarterback to the left side of the formation. We were able to get pressure from Culpepper on the twist, and he just couldn't find anybody open, so he decided just to eat it and not make a major mistake. First down, Tigers.
All right, Tigers on the field. Croft, the quarterback. Throws upfield, has a receiver open, and it's complete. They're going to rule it complete down at the 27-yard line, 28-yard line. And there's your guy, Chris Rowland, on the reception.
Yes, that's just a beautiful pitch and catch. Best throw of the night for Croft. He's looked like he's settled down a little bit. He's been much more effective in the second half with his passing.
All right, big play for the Big Blue. Chris Rowland still adding up points, and another flag before the snap.
Well, what is going to get Coach Reed really upset is that a lot of these pre-snap penalties are coming from specialty guys. These are running backs, receivers that are false starting. It's not the linemen. So I feel sorry for those guys on Monday.
Chris Rowland with 154 yards in receiving, averaging 22 yards a catch. Ball at the 34-yard line. Croft on the keeper, and he needs to go down. Wildcats doing a fine job of sniffing that one out.
Yeah, we thought that he should keep the ball a couple of times, and that was one of the times he might have should have gave it up. Nevertheless, that's a good play by the Wildcats defense, number 48, Marquise Ford on the play.
9:42 remaining in this ball game. Tigers holding on to that 24-3 lead. Haven't been able to get in that end zone. since the first half. And the Tigers might have gotten their yards back. Flag on the play.
Yeah, Earl Harrison on that play, on that run, they pulled both guards, led by Burden, and they got some positive yards, maybe 5 or 6 yards on that play.
That's Burton. Burton's been moved from center to offensive guard. Coaches say he's the strongest guy on the field or on the team, the Tennessee State Tiger team. He's a junior, and, you can't lose your cool, especially this late in the game. Not at all, but especially at this point.
Well, Howard, we've talked about it. That's another penalty, and that's a dead ball penalty. So that means they have just really shot themselves in the foot. They got to the 1-yard line and had a penalty. Now they're in positive territory and just got another penalty.
All right, ball back to the 44-yard line. Croft up the field to Harris, and it's going to be a first down and more as Harris, boy, oh boy, he found an opening and Croft found Harris, and the Tigers got all those yards back and more as that ball is down to the 13-yard line, and it's going to be a pickup of 30 yards on the play.
Yep, Treon Harris and the Rolling Show. Those been the two that have been on the offensive side of the ball, making some exceptional plays.
All right, Tennessee State now with first down, 10 yards to go. And touchdown, Big Blue. Flag on the play. Holding called against the Tigers, so that's going to bring it back. And again, the Big Blue picking up these penalties late in the ball game.
Yeah, but it's just something that we just cannot seem to get our hand on. I mean, once again, a positive play. You have a personal foul on this drive, and you just had a touchdown called back from a holding call. It just seemed like they got up big and just kind of lost focus.
Justin Brooks called on the hold. And that's going to push the Tigers back 15 yards. Same play, but not same result.
And there's another flag.
There's a flag on there?
Yeah.
I didn't. Oh, yes, there is.
There's another flag.
Officials are huddling up, and it's not looking good where that flag is located. All right, block below the knees, and they're really looking at that this year as the Rules Committee has tried to cut out those types of blocks, and that's going to be called against Aaron Cawthon. And it's going to move the Big Blue back to the 39-yard line. It's about where it started.
Well, the Tigers have reached the double-digit mark in penalties. That's penalty number 10, Howard. And, that's something we just can't clean up. I don't know, what to do. They got the game in hand. They can put a touchdown on the board and put it back. But they're just the self-inflicted wounds.
All right, first down and forever. Croft back to pass. He throws across the middle, and it's complete. Tigers get a little of those yardage back. Pass complete to Cal Oliver, tight end, redshirt junior.
Well, we're starting to see Croft warm up now. It's his tale of two halves. He struggled in the first half, and now he's starting to pick up the pace in the second half throwing some beautiful balls on this drive. Should already have points, but look like they need to have to score again.
22 yards on the play. Tigers was second and about 16. Looks like Rowland on the carry. And he gets the ball back to the original line of scrimmage. It's going to be 3rd down and 10 for the Big Blue.
Yeah, I think it's very important that the offense try to score a touchdown here. I mean, they have to score. I mean, had droughts last year where they would score points in the first half and couldn't score in the next half. So it's really big to be able to get 7 points on the board here.
All right, 3rd and 10 for the Big Blue. Croft rolling in the backfield. Rowland picks up a good block. Croft's going to keep it. And he's going to be stopped short of the 1st down as he stopped at the 5. It's going to be 2 yards short, 4th down. And the Tigers are going to attempt a field goal.
Yes, well, that was positive play for the Tigers right there. Croft chose to tuck it and get some positive yards. Unfortunately, he couldn't get the 1st down. Looked like the Tigers are going to try another field goal.
All right, Zeta in the game. 23-yard field goal attempt. He's right on the right hash marks. Pretty good angle for him. Somebody's coming on the field.
Yeah, it looked like it's a conversation with one of the referees may be injured. That's Trevor, the Tennessee State trainer, out to talk with one and see exactly what's going on.
Well, looks like he's going to hang in there. Tough guy.
Yeah, when you're in the trenches, if he's the umpire, he's in there with the big guys the whole game.
All right, Zeta with a 23-yard attempt. Low snap, but they get it up, and the kick is good. So great job on the holder. And the Tigers put 3 more points on the board. 27-3 is the score.
On that hold was Mitchell Boudreau, the backup kicker. He did a phenomenal job getting that snap down. And the true freshman has had a great night kicking for the Tigers. Makes another field goal. And what a debut for the true freshman, Anthony Zeta.
All right, fans, Tennessee State University leading 27-3 as the Tigers have not been able to score a touchdown in the second half, but they're continuing to put points on the board. And, you know, at this point, Coach Reed said he was going to go with a 2-quarterback system, and I guess he gets an opportunity now just to see how that works for him and get players comfortable playing at this level. And even though the second half has not been a scoring fest, the defense has done their job in holding the Bethune-Cookman Wildcats out of the end zone, and he's had a chance to work his team. Penalties have not been kind and have not helped the Big Blue, and it's going to be probably a sore spot in the meetings tomorrow.
Yes, indeed. So the Tigers came in with one quarterback who had played here at Tennessee State University, another who had transferred in from a D1 program or FBS program. Nevertheless, both have had a great showing tonight. One thing's for sure, Michael Hughes started out on fire and since has cooled off, but now Demery is starting to get a rhythm with himself and really had a great showing in the second half.
All right, into kickoff for the Big Blue Tigers. Number 41, Caleb Mosley. He's been a busy guy. And the Tigers making a stop just shy of the 20-yard line.
Yeah, that's one thing that Mr. Mosley has done. The true freshman has been able to kick the ball very well, do some directional kicking. You never know when you have true freshman kickers coming in what they might have, what they might do under the bright lights. Nevertheless, the special teams have been solid for the Tigers.
Well, Larry Wilhoit was in for the tackle. It's good to see him back this year. He didn't play last year because of a shoulder injury, but that's another safety for the Tigers that hopefully can get some playing time as the season moves forward. 1st and 10. And right now, they're going to take what they can get as Williams scampers for a first down out to the 30-yard line.
Well, that's been their best offensive play. Williams at quarterback scrambling and using his legs for positive plays. You're going to see a lot of that now because the Tigers are probably back in a 2-deep set, and they're going to just probably rush 4. Kind of different from what they've been bringing a lot of pressure all game.
And there's a pick, and it looks like it's going to be pay dirt for the Big Blue on the interception. Nesbitt. And the Tigers have put points on the board. The defense said if the offense is not going to do it, we'll do it.
What a play by the junior out of Florida. I mean, he's the best one that we have in the secondary when it comes to cornerbacks and experience. And he kind of just baited that throw. That's the second interception of the night. But he baited Williams into that throw, and he kind of sat on it. You knew he had the 2 safeties over the top, and he kind of read the quarterback's eyes and just stepped in front. And what a play for Mr. Nesbitt.
All right, the Tigers have gone up 33-3. Zeta to attempt point after. He has been perfect here tonight.
Well, you know, Howard, there's 3 sides of a football, right? You got offense, you got defense, you got special teams, all right? So the defense wanted to show that they like to score a little points too. And then we were talking about how we need to finish up the second half strong and in this game. The defense has been solid all night. Why not let it be them?
That's right. You know, when you said there were 3 sides of a football, I was kind of looking at that football and saying, okay, I was trying to figure out the 3 sides, but I got you. I got you. And, hey, we can have a little fun right now. 5:15 remaining in the ball game. The Tigers have gone up by a score of 34-3 with 5:15 remaining in this game. It looks like the John Merritt Classic is going to be for the Big Blue. You've been listening to Tennessee State University football. We'll be back in a moment.
So you wore yellow? It's fresh. It's clean. Get your arm out.
John Merritt Classic number 20 looks like it's going to be the Tigers' historic ball game as the Tigers continue to score, if not the offense, the defense. And a great open field tackle by the Big Blue. On the tackle for TSU, Jordan Bell out of Antioch, Tennessee. Redshirt freshman out of Cane Ridge.
Yeah, you know, tonight the Tigers have really been lights out when it comes to the defensive side of the football. Also, the offense has been excellent as well. They've outgained the Wildcats 2-1 on offense. Nevertheless, the defense has been staggering. I mean, their tackling has been solid. They have been sound in their coverages. They have 2 turnovers, 1 for a touchdown. You know, if that quarterback wasn't so fast, I mean, they probably have several more sacks. nevertheless, it's been a solid showing for the Tigers for the 20th John Merritt Classic.
Four yards on the play as Bethune-Cookman is electing to just keep it safe right now. Tigers dig in defensively. And boy, I'll tell you, what a difference a rush makes, because wide open in the middle of that field was Jamie Robinson, but the rush was so intense that Mitchell just couldn't. He just couldn't line up. He couldn't set up to throw the football. He actually saw him. He just couldn't get it there. And it's going to be 3rd down and 7 for the Wildcats.
Yeah, well, this has been the number one play for the Wildcats. Run Williams left and right, but the defense has gotten kind of used to that, and now they're preparing for that. It's it's 4th down now. The Wildcats are electing to kick it away. On that last quarterback rush was Patterson and Jeremiah Kane. Now, Jeremiah Kane is a new acquisition or a new member of the defense out of Coahoma Community College out of Mississippi, my homeboy. And so that's good to see him get in the game and make his presence felt.
All right, Francis back to kick. And there he goes, little number 3, finding a seam again up the sideline. Finally run out of bounds around the 44-yard line. They're going to mark him out of bounds at the 42. Chris Rowland, and it is Chris Rowland's day.
Well, he has my vote for John Merritt Classic MVP. What a game for the Rowland family and the Chris Rowland and Self, who've also had some positive plays as well. Great showing in Middle Tennessee. Those folks are out of Brentwood, Tennessee, and are true Tiger fans, and he's really put on a show for them tonight.
Tennessee State, 29 yards shy of 500 total offensive yards.
That's what we wanted to see. And it's been a good balance. I mean, they've kept the ball on the ground. You're starting to see other offensive linemen get an opportunity. They stuck to the game plan, and they said they was going to run the football, and everything will come from running the football, and that's what happened. And then, of course, Chris Rowland just exploding onto the scene and having a phenomenal night at receiver.
Sean McCauley on the carry, another running back in the ball game. And with that surge, Tigers are close to a 1st down.
Well, we've seen 4 or 5 running backs for the Tigers. Sean McCauley, he's a redshirt freshman out of Chattanooga, Tennessee. He's another big bruising back that the Tigers have in their arsenal. 5'11", 210-pound redshirt freshman.
McCauley's carried the last 2. Tigers still able to move the ball on the ground. 3rd and 2, ball in midfield. And we'll have to see. It looks like the Tigers might be a little short. They got it.
Moving the chains. Major Bellamy.
Bellamy on that carry, and he just slipped under the tacklers and moved the ball up the field to the 47-yard line. 1st down, Big Blue. Clock ticking under 2 minutes. As it looks as though John Merritt Classic number 20 is going to be in the barn. And there's Croft on the keeper, and he might have picked up another 1st down. Yes, they're going to mark him out of bounds at the 35.
Well, that's the Croft. You know, he's been handing that ball off all night, and that's a great time to keep it because you know if you have just pounded the ball in between the tackles with several different running backs, I mean that has to be demoralizing for that defensive line. And then the little time you get a little tired, you make a mistake, and he pulls it, and he's around the corner. First down, Tigers.
Tigers trying to run that clock out now. And Bethune playing tough in the middle. And I got to give a lot of credit to one guy, not the only guy, but Cedric Jackson. Well, he's got his number, 76. They haven't listed as offensive lineman, but 76 has been in that game and just doing a great job showing up the middle of the defense at nose guard. And doing a great job. There he goes. It looks like the Tigers are going to continue to pound it. And McCulley is trying to get his name in the box as he's moved the ball down to the 5-yard line. And the Tigers now first and goal at the 5.
Yeah, well, we talked about it. The Tigers were going to have a commitment to running the football, and they have a bunch of tools in the toolbox to do so. And there goes the redshirt freshman out of Chattanooga who had an opportunity, and he's making the most of it.
Well, he got met hard in the middle of that line.
Now, he took a knee, or you got a bunch of young guys, several reserves in? Do you try to punch it in? Or did you just kind of move on? Look like the Tigers have made a decision.
Yep.
To let the clock run out.
That's sportsmanship.
And Howard, what a big game for the Tigers. There was a lot of question marks early, but guess what? 34-3. The 20th John Merritt Classic is a win for the Tigers.
All right, fans. Tennessee State University winning the John Merritt Classic number 20, 34-3. And it looks as though, as Big John would say, Big John Merritt, that baby, the hay is in the barn.
Well,
and so it wasn't a pretty game. But, when you score 34 points, you can't go away mad. You can't go away in a bad mood. So we're going to talk about this game and talk about some stats and more after these messages. You're listening to TSU Football on ESPN Plus. Fans, we're back here at Nissan Stadium here in Nashville, Tennessee, as Tennessee State University defeats Bethune Cookman 34-3 in John Merritt Classic number 20. And you know what? Number 20 is historic, and the victory, of course, is sweet. So, fans, we expected a lot more from Bethune-Cookman, looking at the size and the playmakers that appeared they had. But you know what? We've got to give Tennessee State's defense their due. They held Bethune-Cookman to 244 yards, and they did their job.
Yep, that's definitely was a stellar performance by the Tigers for the 20th annual John Merritt Classic on both sides of the football. They played very well. The defense kept things afloat while the offense got rolling. But anytime you have over 500 yards of total offense and over 300 yards passing, I mean, that's a great showing against a team like Bethune-Cookman.
Well, you have 500 yards, over 500 yards of total offense, and but you've got 89 yards in penalties. That's you really want to look at that because in the first half they only had 20 yards in penalties. So the rest of those penalties came in the second half. Is that fatigue? Is that putting players in the game that are not normally playing? I didn't see a lot of substituting on the line and what have you. I mean, what causes that?
Well, it looks like they got ahead in the game and came out of halftime and just didn't have the type of focus they had in the first half. And, that has plagued the Tigers. It plagued them last year. It plagued them the year before. They either play a half of football. They have to learn how to play 4 quarters if they want to win a championship in the OVC. You can't play half a game and win in the OVC.
Well, looking at the individual stats, in rushing, to Dondrick Roberson with 69 yards. It looked like he really had more yards than that, but this is his first time playing for the Big Blue Tigers, and he came in and showed that it had what it took. Sean McCulley popped in there in the fourth quarter with 5 carries for 39 yards. Earl Harrison, 6 carries for 23, and DeMarco Corbin, 3 carries for 21 yards. And Hughes, of course, had an amazing night in passing. Probably could have had more, but we've got the dual system. But look at the dual system now. Hughes, 11 of 18, 170 yards and 1 touchdown. Croft, 8 of 14, 154 yards. No touchdowns, but I guess he kind of made up for it in the second half.
Right. Well, at the halftime, Michael Hughes was 10 for 11 for 160 yards. And then in the second half, he was only 1 for 7. So I guess that's why you need 2 quarterbacks, because Denver Croft was 2 for 7 for 25 yards in the first half. And then he finishes off at 8 for 14. So he had an outstanding second half. So that's why they get paid the big bucks. They understand that both quarterbacks have strength. And, the thing is, we wanted to kind of run it with the hot hand. Nevertheless, they came in with a system and they executed. Big win for the Tigers.
But you got Chris Rowland with almost 220 yards total offense. It was his night.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was. And he was just crowned offensive MVP for the John Merritt Classic.
And, of course, on the defensive side, DeJure Nesbitt with 7 tackles, and Blair Edwards with 7 tackles, L'Quarius Cook with 6, and Nick Harper with 5, and of course the Tigers with 2 picks.
Yep, nevertheless, we saw a couple of things tonight from the Tigers that you're very excited about. Matter of fact, you saw several things that you're very excited about. The things that we're concerned about, which was the keys to the game, mental mistakes and penalties. They have to clean that up if they want to win in the OVC. They cannot have double digits penalties to win a championship.
All right, fans. Well, Tennessee State University winning their first game of the 2018 season, 34-3. And the Tigers now have to go down to Memphis, Tennessee to play Jackson State in the Southern Heritage Classic. And I'm going to tell you right now, it doesn't matter what records are. When they go into that stadium, even though Tennessee State has owned it for the last really 7-8 years, you never know how that one's going to turn out.
Well, Howard, you know how I feel about that game. I'm a Jackson, Mississippi kid that played at Tennessee State. So the second September and the second week in September is my time. Hey, everybody needs to come out and support the team out in Memphis.
Well, fans, I'll tell you, the bands are in the stadium and doing a great job. And, of course, that's all part of this big contest is both bands here, the fans, and they have enjoyed it. So, for Derek, I'm Howard Gentry saying so long from Nissan Stadium here in Nashville, Tennessee, where the final score is Tennessee State University 34, Bethune Cookman 3. All games airing on ESPN networks are streaming live and archived on the ESPN app. This has been a presentation of ESPN.